Miller, you're not going to talk football, no, but I mean, the Vandals have a big game. You can read about it on KIDOTalkRadio.com. You can also take a look at some of our in-depth coverage this week of the Boise State home opener. Going to be very big, very exciting, of course. And again, for those of you, by the way, it's not lost on me that there are a lot of people that, whether it's the gig economy, whether it's this, whether it's that, the weekends don't mean anything because it's just another day. So for you that are working, whether it's game day, whether it's Uber, whether it's Lyft, whether it's delivery, whatever it is, I appreciate you. I just wanted to let you know that. And I would pull the old Kevin Miller. Well, I'm so happy that you're, I'll be resting for you, but I'm not even going to do that because I have the utmost respect for you. All right, let's go to the ravishing one. Ryan Schmelz is joining us from Fox News Radio. When you hear Fox News on the radio, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Here he is, walking to the aisle, wearing the big gold. Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
Good to have you with us here. This is what I love. Ryan, what's the mood of the country?
Everyone, nobody likes one another. we do like the opposite of it's not a good. There's a great line, but it's from a bad movie. You ever seen what is it called? The movie where Will Ferrell's a basketball player.
Oh yes,
and he tells everyone everyone love everyone. We do the opposite here. That's what it feels like. Everyone hates everyone.
Yeah.
But I will say, I see a lot more bipartisanship on Capitol Hill than might get covered on the national level. But it's harder to find that or see it, especially in the media when it's a election year.
Well, it is. Of course, we're still wondering about, whether or not we're going to get a spending bill or a continuing resolution or any of those things. But you take a look as we get ready for the election here. The fallout of the debate, has it moved the needle and really the overall mood?
I think Harris is definitely showing some signs of positive polling afterwards. We had a polling come out giving them a grade for their debate performance. Harris got a C average, Trump a C minus, Harris A 30%, A 18% for Trump, F 36% for Trump, F 24% for Harris.
Wow, a harsh scale.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, were you shocked, though?
No, not really. I mean, I think, unfortunately, if your team such and such, this is how you vote. If your team such and such, this is how you vote. And, there were really no knockouts. And, when we're talking about, hey, he got under a skin, hey, that's great, but I want the cost of eggs to go down,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had a decent substantive talk the early part of that debate on the economy and a couple other issues. I think abortion was early on too, but then it kind of got off the rails a little bit. And yeah, I think one of the things that hurt Trump is that he was very easy to egg on, and she got under his skin pretty effectively. And that was from the first insult all the way through at the end of the debate, and Trump was kind of taking all the bait she was throwing at him.
Indeed. So are people working through the weekend there, Ryan? Are you working through the weekend?
Not that as of right now. We should be good next week. I think we're waiting to see what more details on this Speaker Johnson's clean-ish CR plan that he's apparently working on looks like. But, if they're able to get something put together and drop by, maybe this weekend, they'll have it on the floor next week and the shutdown will be avoided.
Well, when is the drop dead date, if there really is one?
October 1st, so midnight on September 30th.
Oh, we still have some time. Go hang out. Maybe you'd like to invite me to Charlie Palmer's, whatever.
Yeah, well, you got to come here first, and I'll invite you.
Any picks for the weekend? You can tell I'm desperate here to give you something to work with. Any picks for the weekend before we let you go?
There we go. Okay. So Ravens will beat the Cowboys. Ole Miss will win again. Any other game? Any games you got on the radar that I need to predict? I haven't looked at the schedule.
No. I was going to say. I'll go with one. Abilene Christian versus the Idaho Vandals.
Okay. Well, it's Idaho's the favorite, right?
Idaho is number 4 in the country. Abilene Christian they're number 19.
The The Vandals are number 4 in what?
FCS, not FBS, FCS.
Why did I think that they were a Power 5 or a Group of 5 team?
They used to be. They dropped down a few years ago, yeah.
Interesting, because you hear all about the teams getting moved up. I didn't know that there were teams actually dropping down still.
One of the like for the first time ever, they did that, and it was this had to do it because of money. But yeah, they dropped.
Nice. Well, I'll take the Vandals in this situation. Heck yeah.
You're going out on a limb, are you?
Oh yeah. Are they bad?
No. They beat Wyoming and almost beat Oregon.
There you go. No, then they're good then. Yes, I expect them to blow them out then. Let's go.
My man. Ryan, anything else? We always appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I'm very excited to talk to you about a government shutdown and the Trump assassination all next week. So it'll be a big one.
All right, Ryan. Take care, sir.
Hey, you too, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you, our great friend, Ryan. Hey, let's start the morning with a rap.
I got my man coming on right now. Stimulating talk, he knows how. Mayhem in the AM is his battle cry. He rebuked Obama, they said goodbye. He goes by the name of Miller K. 580 AM, he'll show you the way. 6 to 10, he's on the mic. Conservative talk, I guarantee you'll like. I said 1, 2, 3, 4. Miller K., what are you waiting for? Word
up, Idaho Ian, for that great rap. We do thank him for that. Are you someone, or you know someone struggling with hearing loss? Hey there, it's Kevin Miller with a quick message from our friends at Hearing Connection. Don't wait any longer to get the help you need. If left untreated, it can lead to social isolation and depression, and even lead to increased risk of developing dementia. Hearing Connection is now offering a 30-day risk-free trial of the latest and greatest hearing aids, the Signia AX. Don't let hearing loss hold you back any longer. Call now for a free hearing evaluation and a risk-free trial of the new Signia AX. Call 208-488-3255 today and start enjoying life to the fullest again. That's Hearing Connection, 208-488-3255. Please tell them Kevin Miller sent you. Appreciate Hearing Connection and everyone that is our partner here on KIDO Talk Radio. Back to the big enchilada, if you will. You know, how do you really lower the temperature in a room? You know, how do you really lower a temperature? You know, people are talking about, well, we need to lower the temperature. Well, we just need to lower the temperature, Kevin Miller. Well, I guess that starts with how you treat people. And people are saying, you know, let's not call Donald Trump a threat to democracy. Let's not call Donald Trump names. What's weird? Politics today. The older we get, by the way, you're welcome to join me at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. It's weird the way politics is today. It's, you know, it's like professional wrestling or kids calling everybody names. And I guess it's social media. And there are many people that they want to be big stars. And I get that because unfortunately the secular world teaches us that, you know, fame and glory. But what happens when you're, you know, on a million things? Monica Lewinsky was a big star once. You know, Britney Spears, a big star once. Do we remember them? Does it really make a difference? Anyway, our friends at Fox had a chance to ask a few Democrats what they think of President Trump.
I wanted to know if you think it's time for Democrats to stop calling Trump a threat to democracy.
No, fact of the matter is that he is a threat to democracy.
No, I think we should be clear that he is a threat to democracy.
Do you think that the rhetoric, though, needs to be toned down?
I think his rhetoric should be toned down, absolutely.
Listen, these are the facts. He is a threat, period, point blank.
Yeah, I guess they won't be invited to any of the parties at Trump National. I don't think that they're going to be any parties for Donald Trump and those folks. But there you have Representative Hank Johnson, Representative Jayapal, and Representative Crockett. Watch out for Representative Crockett. She is a younger, probably, I don't know, anywhere from 25 to 35, I would guess. Jasmine Crockett out of Texas. So she's from Texas. She's very progressive, African-American, black female. Very articulate. The camera likes her. And she doesn't have a problem making a name for herself. What we'll do is we'll give you a little clip on that in a minute. But first, one more time, hey, the guy's been almost killed twice. Shouldn't we tone it down?
I wanted to know if you think it's time for Democrats to stop calling Trump a threat to democracy.
No, fact of the matter is that he is a threat to democracy.
No, I think we should be clear that he is a threat to democracy.
Do you think that the rhetoric, though, needs to be toned down?
I think his rhetoric should be toned down, absolutely.
Listen, these are the facts. He is a threat. Period. Point blank.
Is he? Come on, man. Paulie in Nampa with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Paulie.
Good morning. Yeah, I watch the same thing on Fox. Yeah, it's Crockett. She's a hand grenade. Any room she goes in, you better watch out and find something to hide behind. Yeah, she's perfect for the squad. That's where she will reside for a while, I'm sure. Yeah, the temperature in a room when it's heated like that, I usually, not to sound like a wimp, but I go to my own corner, if you will. And I try not to engage in that discussion unless I absolutely have to, and then put my opinion in, which sometimes inflames it worse. So therefore, I try not to inflame it. But there's a good buddy of mine, and I've known him for over 20 years, and he's as blue as the color of the sea and the sky. And I'm not. I was raised half Republican and half Democrat, so I know where he's coming from. But most of the time, it's BS, so I don't fall in for it. And when he starts on something like that, I'll just walk away, and he knows that I'm going to walk away. And I don't have to ruin a friendship that I've had for over 20 years with this guy. He's a good guy. He's a hard worker. He's a good family man. And he has his opinion.
Now, wait a minute. Do you have a pet there with you?
Why?
Well, I'm just wondering. I hear a little whimpering there. That's all.
No, there's no whimpering going on. It's just, if you want to keep a friend, you don't engage in that.
No. I thought I heard something in the background, a little, but it just must be the voices in my head. Sorry.
No, it's Oscar Weiner.
Yeah, my man.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to lower the temperature in the room, first thing you got to do is walk in and turn the thermostat down to about 64. Next thing you got to do is...
Hold on, that laugh is almost as good as this one.
I knew I could count on you, Kevin. I still want to meet and talk with you about books and talk to you about the Catholic Church.
I look forward to it, Paulie.
Yeah, I don't know when that's going to be because you're a busy guy. I guess I'll have to come by the homeless shelter if you're in Nampa.
Sure.
And see if you're there.
We're going to be there, again, the week before Thanksgiving, but maybe we can meet before that.
Yeah, and Joey's not going to get his ceasefire, what he wants, and to have the Hamas and those people, they're going to have to be separated. They just have to be, because they've made it known to the whole world that they want to take care of the Israelis once and for all. And as it's been witnessed the last 2 or 3 days, they're not going to go down without a real fight. And
right.
They've got one now with Lebanon. So, with Lebanon on one front and Hamas on the other, and then you've got Methuselah with all her snakes on her head in Iran. You can't get out of that stuff that easy because they just keep on poking the bear. And Israel's a bear, and they're not going to put up with it, and they're not. And I'm grateful for that.
Yep. Paulie, I got to run, but thank you.
Yeah, you have a great day, Kevin.
You as well. Let's go to Amy in Boise on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Amy, thank you for the call.
Hey, how are you this day?
Where you been, Amy?
I have been digging for opals.
Really? Get lucky?
Yeah, we did, actually.
That's awesome.
Got
Good
about
for you.
$30,000 in opals.
Wow. Boy, you should
Yeah.
you should tell Terry he's always looking for gold and all that sort of thing. So good, congratulations.
Well, thank you. Hey, I just wanted to comment on the sick individuals that think that they can try to take Trump's lives. You know what? I don't like Trump either. But no matter how much you like somebody, it does not give you the right to try and kill them. So any other sick SOB out there that thinks that they're going to try to kill Trump, stop it. You have no right. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. You know, I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat, but I do tend to lean both ways. I agree with a lot of each side.
Wait a minute. How can you do that?
Huh?
Wait a minute. How can you do that?
There's things on the Republican side I believe, and there's things on the Democrat side I tend to believe. So I'm just kind of split between them, but it does not give anybody the right to try and take anybody else's lives, no matter what you think of the person. I don't like the man either, but I sure the hell am not going to want to meet my maker knowing that I went and tried to take somebody else's life. Think about that. You will meet your maker one day, and when you do, you don't want to be that person. So anyways, Kevin, you have a good day, and anybody out there thinking about doing something stupid and ignorant like that, please just don't.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Amy. Kevin Miller in the morning. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Good morning. Walmart delivery driver here in Caldwell, Mike in Caldwell. I think I know who you are, Mike. Looks like Hezbollah is soon going to have a job fair. They keep having their killers blowing up, first in the operations, now at funerals. Maybe those anti-Semitic protesting students from U.S. campuses should apply. Does liberal Steve support neo-Nazis to Ukraine, the elite clicker? And there we have it. We would love for you to join the App Yap Club, where I get to read your messages all the time, day in and day out. And going back to the gig workers and the gig drivers, on one hand, there is an incredible opportunity now to make extra money. And a lot of these people, it's not even driving people anymore, but it's like food delivery. And Mike in Caldwell, thank you for letting us know about, what you're doing and stuff. But, Walmart has delivery, this have delivery. And I was talking to a guy last night that works pizza delivery. And this gig economy keeps going. And obviously during games and everything else, we've become so accustomed to being served. But as I said before, thank you to all the people that serve. And like I said too many times, hey, everybody, it's Friday. I used to hate that. Do you hate that if you have to work on the weekends or you want to work on the weekends when people say that? All right, here we have it. Patriot Ray joining us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. I hope that you are doing well. We need you on the air. So stay healthy, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
They keep talking about they want to tone down the rhetoric, except every alphabet soup media repeats the same things. He's a danger to our republic. He's crazy. We don't like him. I mean, and then you get people that want him to tone down his rhetoric when his is not nearly as bad as what they keep pushing. So I don't understand why anybody would even vote Democratic today. My mom and dad were Democrats. My dad switched from being a Democrat about 10 years before he passed away because he started seeing the things that were happening with Clinton and everybody else. It's just amazing to me that people sit back and say, oh, the Republicans are just horrible, every one of them, and that we need to make sure that Trump doesn't get into office because he's a danger. He's a problem. They keep pushing that narrative, and you get nut people out there who just try to take care of the situation in their own stupid little way. And Amy was right. Nobody should even try to kill anybody else. You don't like somebody, You just don't speak with them. You don't joke with them. You don't do anything else. If you don't like what's on the TV, turn it off. If you don't like what's on the radio, turn it off. Switch channels, whatever. You have the opportunity and supposedly have a brain to make that choice. You don't have to dig at other people and get under their skin about things, because words are just words, and we have made words a tool to be offended by. And you choose to be offended. You know, I can say things and somebody may not like it, but that individual on the other side chooses to be offended, and then they go off half-cocked. I don't understand the word salad of Kamala half the time. She did do a good job at the debate, but she never answered a question, and they never challenged her, but they challenged Trump 6 different times. They came back after him and fact-checked him all the way around, and their fact-checking was skewed and wrong, and they wouldn't correct it. When she made bad statements, they never say anything. Well, how do you come up with that? I mean, it's just amazing to me. And in my advanced years, I'm so grateful for my faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and in people, that they will look at the truth and make a good, solid choice. Now, as far as the unions are concerned, used to be that everybody said, we want the masses to make the decision. We want our constituents who tell us the most to make a decision. That's not the unions. The union bosses say, oh, we're not going to vote for either party now, when they got 60% of their people saying, we're going to vote for Trump. So I don't understand that situation either. It's just another tool for the Democratic Party. Everybody's in line with them for some insane reason. We had the best economy. We were becoming energy independent. People were doing better. I was doing better at that time. I'm still doing pretty good. I'm 75, almost 76. I'm still working. Love it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think I can sit at home and just draw a check. I don't think that's in my makeup. So God bless Kevin Miller. I hope that you and your family are well. We love you. We care about you. We hope that you do the best you can in making yourself healthy and trying to do what you can so that you can stay on the air and help people like myself and even Amy and even the liberal Steve to voice what's on their minds. God bless, and we appreciate KIDO Radio for allowing Kevin Miller on the radio. God bless.
God bless, Patriot Ray, and our best to you and your family. You are in our prayers each and every night. Kevin Miller in the morning at KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And again, salute to, and by the way, Mike, thank you for that App Yap Club. Patriot Ray, thank you for those notes of encouragement. But again, salute to all the gig workers and to people that serve. Also, we want to say a heartfelt thanks to, for the second time, retired Boise Police Chief Ron Weiniger. I guess yesterday was his last day. The new chief from Tucson Tim, is in. And, you know, again, we look forward to talking to the new chief. We look forward to talking to the old chief. We'll see him around town. And, you know, it takes somebody very special to go into law enforcement now more than ever. And thank you, Chief Weiniger, for your continued service. Thank you for coming back and bailing out the bungling mayor when obviously she has bungled the police department, and hopefully we can protect and serve. And obviously what happened, if you didn't hear about it yesterday morning, on Eagle Road by our friends at the Mecca Gym and Trader Joe's and all sorts of places, there was some type of shots fired. And when the shots are fired, that's when the police are there. So we want to thank them and Chief Weiniger for his service. KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget our friends at Beacon Plumbing. They say stop freaking, call Beacon. Love Beacon Plumbing. Beacon Plumbing for all your plumbing needs, commercial and residential. BeaconPlumbing.net. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the Idaho Pizza Company studio, traffic coming out of Caney County into Ada County. You may want to pick a different direction. Right now, really backing up at the county line just past Robinson as we have an accident on the left-hand side. If you're already in that slowdown, move to the right-hand lanes to get around that. Otherwise, we're in pretty good shape around the valley. Fairly Reliable Bob's has offered friendly family service since 1975 at 23rd and Main in downtown Boise. Fairly Reliable Bob's, right on the corner and right on the deal for over 49 years. That's your traffic now on KIDO.
Good morning. I just wanted to touch base on your topic about the delivery drivers. So I'm the one that drives FedEx during the day. And because of this economy, I have a second job where I deliver pizzas in the evening. So just a couple of points for people that are ordering items. Please, 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 it's getting dark. Turn your porch lights on. We can't see your house. We can't find you. It's frustrating. And then also, we're not doing these jobs, 90% of us, because it's fun and because we have nothing else to do. It's a second source of income. And particularly the company I work for, we make $7 an hour and 40 cents a mile. So we rely on tips. You'd be amazed at the percentage of people that do not tip. We're driving 6-7 miles, one way to bring you your $80 worth of food, and there's zero tips. That's wear and tear on our own vehicles, our gas. Just appreciate those that are willing to do it for you. And that's my PSA.
Oh, before you go, though,
yeah.
So really, you can't make enough doing the FedEx thing. I thought FedEx was a good place to work and all that.
So we're subcontractors. So we have independent owners on FedEx ground. So we're not actually employed by FedEx. Our contractors have a contract with FedEx. So it's not a bad gig, but, our money doesn't go as far as it used to. So it's just trying to find other means to try and make that little extra income to try and pay some stuff down.
Yeah, I hear Amazon does that too.
Yeah, Amazon is hourly, and so they work long hours. So, like with us, the FedEx ground, the subcontractors, we get paid a daily rate. So it doesn't matter how fast or how slow I am. I can go at my own pace. More often lately, I've been getting done by like between 1:30 and 2:30 in the afternoon, and my day is done. Doesn't matter if it took me till 5. I still get paid the exact same thing.
I bet you could tell us. I bet you could tell us some stories about driving in the Treasure Valley, though.
Yeah. So like I said before, I do the Sweet, Ola, and Montour and parts of the outlying areas of Horseshoe Bend, and so yeah, I get to see lots of wildlife. I don't see too many people because I'm out in the middle of the day during the week, and I don't see too many people, but I'll tell you what, anybody that lives in that area, don't put your dogs away. I love your dogs. They make my day.
Well, and that's so important. It's funny, though, when you have people that are doing the gig thing, and, you always want to make sure you take care of those folks. And the idea that people aren't tipping,
I kind of think that sometimes when I go to a really, really far delivery with the pizzas, and they have a note on there, just leave it on the doorstep, and there's no tip. Or, they'll send their kids out to come get it. Because there's been several times where I'm like, I'm going to ask them, did they have a bad experience? Like, what could I do to make it better, to maybe, re-engage that to where you feel like we're worthy of being paid of coming out here to do this. Like, did somebody else aggravate you? But in those instances, 9 times out of 10, they're leave it on the porch. So you don't even have an opportunity to talk to them. And it's hard. It's frustrating, like, for instance, I worked 3 hours last night. I made $20 in tips. It's tough. Yeah, it just doesn't make it worth it because you figure I'm paying for my own gas, starting and stopping, turning on, turning off my truck constantly. It's like it's frustrating because we're not doing it for fun. And I'm not saying, hey, tip $10, throw $2 or $3 on there. We see what your total is on the pizzas. It's frustrating. Just throw a couple bucks on. It's not. We appreciate it. We do.
You're saying like a couple bucks, and some people just give no tip.
0.
Wow.
There was one day earlier this week, out of 7 deliveries, I had 1 tip.
Man.
Yeah, it's tough, and I understand money's tight for everybody. But just show a little appreciation for those that are out there, help making your life easier. You don't want to drive across town for free either.
No, I totally agree with you. And like I said, it's an odd, world that we're living in today where, people pay to get deliveries and stuff. And I get that. I'm one of those old war horses. I'll go pick it up.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, and I think a lot of the misconception is like on the receipt it shows like when you do delivery, there's like I don't know if it's $3.99 or $4.99, delivery fee that doesn't come to the drivers. I can tell you firsthand, we don't get a dime of that. So it's literally I think it's 42 cents a mile, and then our $7 an hour. And I work 3 nights a week, 3 hours a night, 4 nights a week, and every 2 weeks, my actual paycheck based off of the hourly after taxes, $120. So we're not doing it for the hourly rate. We rely on the tips.
Nicole, I appreciate that. Please call us anytime.
Yeah, no problem. You have a fantastic day.
You too. Appreciate you. Brilliant insight there. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget our friend Sean Hannity, 1 to 3, 1 to 4 on KIDO Talk Radio.
KIDO Talk Radio. Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
She has now said she would never have a border wall. She would decriminalize illegal immigration. We have early voting going on. She's never been asked by it. The media has given her a complete pass because they're so abusively biased and corrupt. There's been no discussion about all of the people that have been murdered by Harris Biden illegals, those that have been raped by Harris Biden illegals, other victims of violent crimes by Harris Biden illegals, and those people with terror ties. There are hundreds of them. And here we are. Voting has begun, and there's no answers to any of these questions. And the media seems perfectly content allowing her to get a pass on all of this.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
This is getting out of control. Our government is sinking $1 trillion in debt every 100 days. That's right, $1 trillion every 100 days. Do you want to bail the government out of debt? I didn't think so. I know I sure don't. This is Linda, and when I worry about the national debt, I turn to safe haven assets like gold and silver. And that's why we partnered with the highest rated gold company, Goldco. They have earned over 5,000 five-star reviews from tens of thousands of happy customers who diversified their savings with gold and silver. Today, Goldco is offering you up to 8 years in free IRA fees plus 8% instant match in bonus silver with a qualified account. Call 855-815-GOLD for free IRA fees, bonus silver, free gold, and silver info kit. What are you waiting for? Safeguard your money with physical gold and silver before it's too late. That's what I did. Call 855-815-GOLD, 855-815-GOLD. That's 855-815-GOLD.
Thank you very much, Linda, from the Sean Hannity Show. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. AJ in Caldwell. Good morning, AJ.
Hey, buddy. Hey, last night we watched a film called 1916 by the White Rose Restoration Group. Basically, they're talking about how Margaret Sanger and Kinsey and all of these people grouped together, many of them influenced by socialists and Nazis, to basically create this sexual revolution and abortion rights in the country. And it all is completely correlated to where we're at today. It's such an informative film. If you can watch it, 1916, please do it. And, I hope people listening will try it as well. It's startling because where we're at right now and the way young women believe, based upon what they're being taught in schools, these are the same people, believe it or not, and they're like grotesque forms of sexuality, talking about children being okay to have sex, and it's just sickening. But these are the same people, believe it or not, that established the rules of sexual education in our schools way back then. So when you see these connections, you'll be floored. You'd be absolutely floored. But I would, as far as today, the biggest voting bloc that is of concern is your 18 to 25-year-old college student lady, who is basically going to be voting. And it's all about virtue signaling for their rights and kind of, hey, this is our superiority over men. And these are the kind of things that are being taught in schools. So it's no wonder where we're at, where we are, and it's I just pray to God that people turn things around. The last thing I want to say, if you're a family and you have a young man and he's out looking for a woman, maybe engaged, and just first question, does that young lady watch The View and does she like it? If she does, just run away from her, get someone else. And if you're a young couple, please start going to a good Bible-based church. And many of the questions that you have in life will be easily answered just through your faith and growth with our Lord Jesus Christ.
AJ, well done, as always.
Thank you. You take care of it, Kevin.
All right, our great friend AJ, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. So kind of take a look at that, and it should. I actually like that idea. Are you watching The View? Well, you can't join our family. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. A couple of other things. General news stories before we get back to the clips of the day, if you will. It's just crazy when you think about the stress. People are stressed out about the election, and people are stressed out about life. People are concerned. They're wondering if it's going to be the end of the world as we know it. No, it's not going to be the end of the world. We survived World War I, World War II. We survived everything. I mean, if life could be like the stock market, we have the Fed cutting down the interest rates by 0.5 point. Thank you, Kamala Harris. Or as we like to say on this program, a big hearty thank you to...
Thanks, Obama.
I mean, if that wasn't a wet kiss to the Biden administration, I don't know what was. Joe, what do you think? Whoa. And Joe likes to kiss. So yesterday, the markets, NASDAQ up, S&P up, Dow up, 10-year up, Bitcoin up, NVIDIA up. Why? Well, because of the markets. The markets are responding to the Fed. And, of course, that short-sightedness. Now, again, that's why we have Dave Petzo on. He's the market guy. I'm not, but we all knew people are so desperate for, good news that they're going to sit back and they're going to, just take it all in. And they're going to go, this is a great time to invest. This is a great time to do things. Sure, and we all want everybody to succeed. But on the other hand, think about this. We still have that debt and that deficit. And we can't wipe that out. So let me just tell you a little craziness. People are going on and on and on about just how stressed out they are. People are wondering whether or not it's going to take days to call the election because people are saying these razor-thin margins. And I'm thinking to myself, as we talked about with Phil McGrain earlier this week, by the way, pretty big week for content on the program, where we had the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, Congressman Fulcher, a lot of big guests. So if you miss any of the show, you can always go to our podcast. But from Axios AM with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio, members of Congress are especially open to increasing the Secret Service budget for scary reasons, their own experiences with growing threats and startling security breaches. Think about this for a moment. 60%. Now, in Idaho, it's a little different because everybody packs. But 60% of adults find it stressful and frustrating to discuss politics with people who hold different views. Now, that's up 10 points from the pre-pandemic days of 2019. Well, of course, because you have people that go too far. Now, for me personally, I don't really talk to people. Let me give you an example. Now, Bo, you've reached, and you're a smart guy, aren't you? Okay. Let me see if this is the correct term, because my dad and my wife always accuse me of using words that I don't know the meaning of, but just kind of winging it, okay? Now, I know people listening to KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller would never do this, but you've reached a nirvana-like state when you can go to a social gathering, you can go to a church service, or as the Catholic Church calls it, a mass. And everybody there, it's a mass honoring grandfathers or grandmothers, grandparents, right? And everybody there is, they're dressed up in business casual. There was not one person there dressed like they were looking for a kickball tournament but me. And I thought to myself, I really either need to get my act together, or I am the most distinguished person in this esteemed crowd. That's where I use the word correct. Thank you, Bo. Literally. And I think they were running around thinking that I was going to take out the trash because and that's okay. But I'm going, okay, first of all, we've got the excessively bulging waistline. And I appreciate you when you go, Kevin, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm doing this to make you laugh because it is too stressful. And then we got the receding hairline with the long, flowing, limited follicles. And I'm just kind of walking around going, hi, would you be my friend? I'd like some popcorn. And the lunch ladies made sure that I only had one cookie. I was on the cookie. There was one lady, she had like 6, but she was really thin. But like I said, and maybe it's, how we approach things. Look, we're not going to change people's mind. Jim Byrne, I love having Jim on. Jim is going to be a Democrat. And, Jim was on this week talking about, why he likes Kamala Harris. Now, if you hit him with, thanks, Obama, or everything else, of course they're going to get, back and forth. But you got to keep it civil. And sometimes you just got to be the bigger person. 60% of Americans limit how much political news they consume to avoid feeling overloaded or fatigued, according to a new poll last week from the Center for Public Affairs Research. The American Psychological Society even has a term for it, political stress. Politics is increasingly recognized as a significant source of chronic stress, affecting both mental and physical health negatively. Well, let's just tune out, because when you tune out, good things happen.
Go enjoy your beer and ride your ATV and watch sports. We'll run the country.
Yeah, so our goal here is obviously to hear what you have to say. It's our community each and every morning. And of course, we love hearing what you have to say at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. On the other hand, we're not going to sit there and stress you out. We're going to give you the stories. We're going to give you the newsmakers. Like coming up next, Camp Rainbow Gold and Dutch Brothers, they're doing a really, really good event. And people should know about it, especially if like your coffee, you got a lot of choices, but why not check out our friends at Dutch Brothers at benefiting Camp Rainbow Gold. Details of that coming up next hour. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Everybody in Idaho, except Kevin Miller, calls it the freeway. It took me years to call it the highway. So anyway, if you're driving on the highway, hopefully you have the Friday lights. Why don't we do this? We're not going to tease you anymore. Dangerous Dave Burnett is ready to go. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the Idaho Pizza Company studio, your traffic out of Candy County, it's a mess for you right now. We have an accident right near the county line at McDermott. That backs up for about 5 miles past north side. Be aware of that. If you're already in the slowdown, get to the right-hand lane. That's your traffic. Now, I'm Dave Burnett on KIDO Talk Radio.
All right, quick, efficient. Hopefully you can continue to get to work safely and on time. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. To make you laugh, apparently Gavin Newsom in California is cracking down on memes. I guess you call it memes. Mimi? I like meme. Anyway, so he's cracking down on social media, and not only social media, but social thought. From the Babylon Bee, in an immediate sign, Governor Gavin Newsom's crackdown on memes is taking effect. The Long Beach Police Department announced that a special tactical unit executed a raid of a private residence today and seized over 2,000 memes. The bust took place at an unsuspecting location, reportedly the home of what was described by neighbors as a nice, quiet family. In all, authorities seized over 2,000 of what a department spokesman categorized as pure, uncut memes. This is a historic day and a historic bust, Long Beach Police Sergeant Ray Thorson said. Governor Newsom made it very clear that this trash has no business being on the streets. We received a tip from one of the neighbors that someone in this residence was engaging in illegal memeing. We executed a search warrant and quickly discovered the largest meme stockpile any of us have seen. By the way, it's really all about priorities, right? Rolling blackouts, excessive high cost, the exodus from the state, and Gavin Newsom is going after the memes. Gavin, Governor, gallivanting, please leave the memes alone. Please, please, please leave the memes alone. Thankfully, we live in Idaho, where we're focused on trying to stop the state from burning down. It's about priorities. Nobody wants to be a big dummy.
You're a big dummy there. I'm not kidding you. You're a big dummy.
Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, should elected officials be role models when it comes to how to behave in public? Well, one young lady who knows how to behave in public, works for a great organization, a great cause. Bethany joining us from Camp Rainbow Gold. How are you today, Bethany?
Hi, Kevin. I'm so good. How are you?
Well, we're just excited about what's going on with coffee and Camp Rainbow Gold and how the two mix for a really good cause today.
Yes, it's an incredible day. Dutch Bros West Treasure Valley and Dutch Bros East Treasure Valley. So a bunch of Dutch Bros throughout Caldwell and Nampa and Boise and Meridian area. They have all just surrounded us with so much love and support. And $1 from every drink sold all day today will go towards helping our kids.
Well, that is tremendous. And, every bit counts. And whether we're in Idaho or Washington, everybody drinks a bunch of coffee. So why not?
Exactly, yes.
So when we're talking about Camp Rainbow Gold, for people that aren't familiar with your great group, what do y'all do?
Absolutely. We provide camps and programs for Idaho kids with cancer and their families. We do that through 5 different camps that take place throughout the year. So we have 2 family camps, a teen oncology camp, a youth oncology camp, and a sibling camp, along with a teen support group year-round, a college scholarship program, and family events.
Bethany, anything else you'd like to share with us today? I know you're going, well, Kevin Miller, give me something to work with. We've got coffee at Dutch Brothers all over the Treasure Valley. We've got what Camp Rainbow Gold is. What else can we share with people as far as truly lives being changed? And this is a real live Idaho grassroots organization that depends on local donations. And y'all had just an incredible summer. It was broadcast and reported on CBS News, the building, the camps. And this is all done through local people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would just say if you can get out and on your way to work today, or if you need an afternoon pick-me-up, please go get a coffee from one of the Dutch Bros in the area. You can find a list of all the locations at bit.ly/Buck for Kids. It helps our kids so much. All of our camps and programs are provided free of charge to these kids and their families going through a childhood cancer diagnosis. So it makes it all possible for them and really just allows them to be a kid and to get outside and enjoy nature, eat some s'mores, ride a horse for the first time, and really just be a kid and take a break from the diagnosis.
Yeah, that is so important to allow them to do that, and obviously for the families as well. So, and again, we talked a little bit about this, but a lot of people may not know. You guys built a lot of buildings in very little time this summer.
Yes. So Corey Barton Homes have just been outstanding to us, and they, along with a ton of other incredible businesses and contractors and subcontractors and just the most amazing people you will ever meet. They built 6 cabins in 3 days for our kids and their families. They're all ADA accessible. Some of our kids are in wheelchairs or on crutches, and it's absolutely amazing.
Well, Bethany, anything else you'd like to share with us one more time? The website, the this, the that. I mean, young lady, and I say that as a compliment. You're the details lady. You're the knowledge person today.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you. Just thank you so much to everyone for listening. Please, like I said, please go out and purchase a cup of coffee today, or if you like their Red Rebel drinks, please purchase one of those. The website is bit.ly, bit.ly/Buck for Kids.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Dutch Brothers today throughout the Treasure Valley. Bethany, Camp Rainbow Gold, your website?
CampRainbowGold.org.
I was going to go there, but when I assume it never works out for me, CampRainbowGold.org. Thank you, Bethany.
Thank you, Kevin. All
right. Appreciate Bethany from Camp Rainbow Gold. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And perhaps one day, the polls that do this will recognize Idaho as the most charitable state as opposed to Utah. You think about Utah and, well, they've got an NHL hockey team now, and they've got Jelly Roll. Did you hear about this? Now, I'm not a Jelly Roll type, and a lot of people don't even know who Jelly Roll is, but he's a big music guy, and he loves the beauty of Utah so much. He's going to build a Western home there. Well, good for the folks in Utah. We sure appreciate them. But Jelly, why don't you move to Idaho? In fact, now, guys, I'm going to date you on this one. Remember the actress from Varsity Blues? You don't remember that because you're too young. Now, Varsity Blues, Angela Jolie's dad, John Voight, was in that movie. And it's about the old man going after the young, not going after the young boys. You got to be careful what you say these days because everybody has a double entendre. He was very disciplined against the football team. And then, of course, it's always the young boys win. The old people never win in these movies. So the young people rebel and the coach is thrown out. Anyway, in this movie, you have a young actress at the time, very beautiful. She was also in Legally Blonde. She's moving to Idaho. You want to feel old? She's probably in her mid-30s, maybe 40s by now, the Varsity Blues actress. But that story is on our website, KIDOTalkRadio.com. How did I go from Camp Rainbow Gold to Varsity Blues? What I'm saying is, yeah, what about, you're laughing at me, Sweet William, how I'm getting out of this? Yeah, what I'm saying is that, Jelly, come to Idaho. You can hang out with the actress from Varsity Blues and her husband, and they seem to be very nice people. Do I have her name? Allie Lerner, is it? Allie Lerner, something like that? You're going to check on the website? Thank you. Okay, for your listening pleasure, and this is brought to you by our friends at Hoagland Meats. Getting Grilled, that's our new feature on this program. Check out Hoagland Meats today. They're a wonderful sponsor. If you're looking for real-life Idaho well-fed steak at an affordable price or beef, check out our friends at Hoagland Meats. And this is called Getting Grilled. So here we have Nancy Mace. Now, you may not know Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace is a congresswoman. Nancy Mace went to the Citadel. Nancy Mace is one of those people that she's a millennial. She's, again, very attractive. She's very smart, and she goes on a lot of shows. And remember, she was a victim of sexual assault who went after George Stephanopoulos. And she said to George Stephanopoulos, hey, man, as a rape victim, you've crossed the line with me. You've crossed the line. And so she doesn't mind going after people. So even though it is, how should I put this, political discussion, it really is more like political theater. I call it the freak show. And I know that that's not an original term. And many people watch the Newsmax. By the way, hello again to our friend Patriot Ray, who's working very hard. And then we have Tea Party Bob, who's multitasking now, figuring out what he's going to talk about, listening to Newsmax in one ear and this show in the other. So we appreciate that. But when you're watching these shows, they used to be more tranquil, more quaint, and you'd have people agreeing to disagree. And as long as the liberal won, everything was great. But now you have people screaming and yelling. And it's very difficult. And, last hour we talked about stress. It's very difficult when you're sitting there and trying to get the information and people are screaming at each other. So Nancy Mace went on a show, and this guy, Mike Dyson, who has a distinguished professor at Vanderbilt. I have gone toe-to-toe with Mr. Dyson, Professor Dyson, back when I was on the circuit. Michael Eric Dyson. He used to be at USC. No, that's Southern California, Sweet William, not South Carolina. So the point being that when you go on these programs, you go toe-to-toe with people that you disagree with. So what Michael Eric Dyson did is he ripped Nancy Mace. He's black, she's white, called her every name in the book, and then tried to pick her up. Now, if you're going to try to pick someone up that you just called a racist, you probably shouldn't do it in a text.
I'd like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Without
then
objection.
The guy says I'm gorgeous in all these photos. I don't think he's that bent out of shape on how anyone pronounces Kamala. And if we're going to have that standard, you got to hold it to both sides, not just one or the other.
Note to Michael Eric, we'll just say Mike Dyson. If you're going to call somebody racist, chances are you shouldn't send a meme, you shouldn't send a photo, you shouldn't try to pick up the congresswoman. And what does that say if all of a sudden she's a racist, but you want to go out with her? And by the way, again, note to men, and there's nothing wrong with dating people younger men, younger women, dating older people. There's a trade-off in everything in life. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in your 50s or 60s, and I think Mr. Dyson is my age, probably it's best not to go after the 30-something-year-old person that you just called a racist on national television. She just outed you. You got grilled. By the way, that's courtesy of our friends at Hoagland Meat, hoaglandmeat.com. Speaking of another person that got the grill on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller in the morning, it comes down to politicians behaving badly. You can't do this at work. You can't do it anywhere, but these folks just seem to lose it. And like I said before, it's as if professional wrestling has gone to Capitol Hill. Last hour, we talked about Representative Jasmine Crockett. She's attacking a GOP witness as a simple-minded, underqualified, quote, white man over DEI attacks. Now, apparently, a lot of corporations, and remember, it was Bill O'Reilly that said during the Biden administration, before they came to office, you're going to hear about equity. Equity was, I thought, something you got in a market, but equity. And then Glenn Beck, when he was a good Glenn Beck. He has good days, he has bad days, like all of us. Glenn Beck was all over DEI. Now corporations going, we're sorry, we don't want to do DEI anymore. And that's a trigger for Representative Crockett.
The deal, you've testified a lot about the problem with the broadband rollout being diversity, equity, and inclusion. You said DEI, I don't know how many times, which is one of the issues that Project 2025 takes issue with. But it's interesting to me because I have another article from the Texas Tribune, and it actually specifically states that internet providers say they are simultaneously hopeful and skeptical about whether the incoming federal dollars will be enough to connect the most underserved Texans. Historically, other federal rural broadband funding programs have seen limited success because many companies who committed to providing broadband went into default after radically underestimating their cost. It doesn't say anything about diversity. And the final thing that I will say is that this election, I didn't ask you a question. The final thing that I will say is that this election is the best example of why y'all are so afraid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because then you can't have a simple-minded, underqualified white man somehow end up ascending. Instead, you've got to pay attention to the qualified black woman that is on the other side. And with that, I will yield.
You know, I'm not even going to play a clip. Yeah, I'm going to play a clip because we don't want to appear to be any type of insensitive, but we will. We can say this because we can't offend grasshoppers. In other words, a shout out to Al in Ontario. God bless you wherever you are. This is what she really meant. We're going to translate this with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. That's Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett calling out the white guy. Now, she is African-American. She's black, but she's calling out the white man. White man, bad whitey.
And the daddy goes, shut up and eat your grasshopper.
Yeah, again, Jasmine Crockett's an intelligent congresswoman, doesn't need me to affirm her qualifications, but that's the best that we can do. There's no questions back and forth. It's just getting grilled. Finally, in Congress, Chairman James Comer, Representative Jared Moskowitz continued their long-running feud during Thursday's meeting at the House Oversight Committee. Remember, the House Oversight Committee, thank you for having Republicans there. There would be no oversight. Oh, there'd be more oversight into let's try to rig the system even more. Maybe Donald Trump lured the would-be assassin there. Maybe Donald Trump antagonized him. Maybe he provoked him. That's how skewed the scales would be if the Democrats, in my opinion, had the oversight committee. But this guy, Moskowitz, he ain't backing down.
We're doing in Springfield. But no, the chairman wanted to top that. He literally brought a witness who proffered in this committee that the Haitian people would have been better off had they stayed in slavery for several more decades. Mr. Chairman, I want to spare you the embarrassment. You should strike his words from the record. No, you stand by his comment that the Haitian people would have been better off in slavery for 30 more years? Or should we strike that from the record? I just want to spare you that embarrassment. Okay, so the chairman...
All right, your time's expired. Before I recognize Mr. Timmons, I would love to be a fly on the wall when you find out that Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential election and his son pled guilty for corruption.
Why didn't you impeach him? Wait, why didn't you impeach him, Mr. Chairman? Where's the impeachment vote?
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Speaker, when's the impeachment vote?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I mean, we have a 300-page book report, tens of millions of dollars.
Chair recognizes Mr. Timmons from South Carolina.
Impeachment.
Mr. Chairman, I'll begin by pointing out that Hunter Biden is going to be sentenced on December 16th.
Hunter Biden's not the
and
president.
I bet you money he's going
Timmons, you need to take your medication and leave.
It's just like two little kids. And these are people that make $170,000 a year. They don't need to do the gig economy, right? What's that song? Money for nothing and your chicks for free? Can we even say that anymore?
I recognize Mr. Timmons.
Mr. Chairman, you're several decades older than me. We know who's taking more medication.
Oh, that's not nice.
Hunter Biden.
That's not nice. Come on, man. That's some ageism there, bro. Subaru Jerry, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Subaru Jerry.
Good morning, Kevin. I need to take you to task on calling Congresswoman Crockett intelligent. That's not intelligence. That's dogma. The only thing Congresswoman Crockett is good for is a replacement for Sheila Jackson Lee, who has just recently passed away.
God rest her soul. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I hope so. Anyway, you need to get your mind right.
Oh, man. Subaru Jerry giving me the smack. Anything else you'd like to share?
Hey,
I appreciate it.
By the way, where has Alan, Ontario been?
You know, one day he's here and the next day he's gone. I don't know. We all miss him.
I do. He's one of my favorite callers.
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin, you have a great weekend.
Hey, Subaru Jerry, you call and smack me around anytime.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up next, the elite clicker. Uh-oh, what's he going to say? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
In my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that. But my staff will deal with that later.
Yeah. Whether you like him or not, and like I said, I hopefully, you and I are alike. I admire talent. And sometimes talent just drives me crazy. Like this guy.
Thanks, Obama.
This guy drove me crazy again and again and again. This guy had ties to Reverend Wright, who was not about singing Kumbaya and bringing people together. Reverend Wright was all about being divisive. In the old days, that would have disqualified anybody, right? Reverend Wright, when he's talking about the chickens.
America's chickens coming home to roost.
But when you're Oprah and you had such a partnership with the Obamas, this had to be painful. By the way, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, thank you for listening. We're going to get to Brian. We're going to get to Lee Joe before the news at the bottom of the hour. But this has to be painful. It's when you're working with a great coworker, a great boss, a great friend, and then they bring in the third stringer.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If
And I thought
somebody
that was
breaks in
powerful.
my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, yes. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
Whoa.
Brian in Nampa, Idaho with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Kevin. Man, you just change my subject all the time. Don't you just love that laugh? Hey, Kamala, why are you coming out of the closet now? That you own a pistol? We shouldn't have known that before? Oh, that's horrible. And I'm sorry, sister. You're not touching my assault weapon. You ain't. You're not sending the cops in to check to make sure they're properly stored. Because I can tell you right now, one of them's hanging on the wall, and there's a little rack of magazines right below it, just in case some criminal or I don't know, a assassin that you let go over to Ukraine and then come back and try to kill a president, whatever, decides to come to my house. You know, I've worked in a prison. There's a few convicts that don't like me, so I'm going to keep my assault weapon. That's not what I called about, Kevin. What is it? Equity, or it basically means we all get the same outcome, right? That's what they push. Hey, Oprah, how much money are you going to send me? Michael Jordan, I think you're a little bit better off than me. Dennis Rodman. Obama, come on, man. I don't got beachfront property. I'm living poor in Idaho compared to you guys. Kamala's even richer than I am. Where's the equity? I'm a poor white boy. What's the problem? My ancestors were oppressed.
Okay, let me interrupt that. Bo, I need that clip of him for the I'm a poor white boy with the high-pitched voice.
Yeah, come on. I have a curse for my ancestors killing Canaanites. And you're sitting here saying, I'm oppressing you? Oh, okay. Maybe my ancestors did way back. I'm sorry about that. I can't go back multiple generations and change what they did. Maybe your ancestors shouldn't have tried killing my ancestors. Maybe. Just saying. So, Kevin, I have to admit, I am elite in one area. And let me explain. All of the last 3 or 4 generations of my grandparents, great-grandparents, so on and so forth, my parents all got married into one of our temples, and they were married. It's the biggest ordinance you can do for my church, forever by God's power for eternity. So, I've been married 32 years now, Kevin, to the Shield Maiden, love her to death, and we're going to live in God's kingdom forever if we keep our commandments. I think Taylor Swift should write a song about that. I wish somebody hadn't lied to her that she needed to have multiple romances and, go everywhere, if you know what I'm saying. I wish she would have the stability of my ancestors that are elite, that got married by God's authority for eternity. My parents are dead. All my grandparents are dead. They're all living in the kingdom of heaven right now, Kevin. Happily ever after, forever. I would love Taylor Swift to sing a song about that. She's more talented than me, Kevin. She sings pretty good. When are you going to sing that song, Taylor? And, oh, by the way, just for the equity thing, she's richer than me. So I'm waiting for the check. Any questions?
Brian, I appreciate you. I got to run. Thank you.
Love you, brother.
Love you. Lee Joe, good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. What up, Lee Joe?
Good morning, sir. Great call by the Elite Clicker. Reminder to the Elite Clicker, the click part is spelled CLIQUE, click as in just because you or I are Idaho natives, it does not give us some special privilege greater than other people Your heritage doesn't give you a special privilege greater than other people. That's why I called him the elite clicker. Everyone has their heritage and should be proud of it, but we can't look down on other people because we think we're better because of our heritage.
Well, I don't know, man. Hold on. I have no heritage. I'm just some guy. I'm just the guy walking around going, hey, man. Now, look, in another life, was I going to be Sean Hannity Light? Maybe, but I'm the hey, man guy. Hey, man.
But the point is that the hey, man guy is equal to the people who think they are elite.
Well, I think. Look, I'm going to. I can't even think of the verb now. Anyway, I'm going to do my very best to try to win a bunch of people. I'm going to say, look, I think everybody that listens to this program is elite. We're all elite, right? I'm pandering. That's what I'm doing. I'm pandering. Yes.
Yes, which that also was what Kamala was doing with that clip. Oh, I have a gun. I have a gun. Hey, everybody, I have a gun.
Coming to my home, you're going to get shot. What accent was that? Was that Southern California? Got me.
Maybe that was Alabama. I don't know.
Yeah.
Trying to do some redneck stuff.
Got me.
I don't know, but that's what pandering is. Look at Kamala. The definition is right there. I wanted to talk about that 1916, the level of evil that is in the United States. The abortion and the sex ed, the perversion. Is there anything in Sodom and Gomorrah you think that we don't do here in the United States right now?
Oof. I'm not going there, man. No Sodom, no Gomorrah here.
That's exactly right. We have lots of Sodom and Gomorrah right here, right now, and we've given up this special city on the hill thing, and we tolerate way too much evil, just pure evil, and we hope the Lord blesses our country. It was founded under righteous religious principles, and we are squandering it as quickly as we can, just with pure evil that rivals Sodom and Gomorrah. We can't tolerate what is happening and expect this country to survive under God's blessings and care. He does not tolerate that kind of thing. He has destroyed cities and cultures in the past purely for their wickedness. And we have to be the example, and we can only change other people's minds through example. But that's what we're looking at, is that level of evil in that 1916 movie that the previous caller was talking about is the kind of evil that God destroys countries for. So that was my main point. We look around you, do your best to change it. But if we don't change it, we're looking at the judgment of God in our time at the rate we're going. So thanks, Mr. Miller.
Hey, keep up the great work and good luck in your new endeavor, bro.
Well, I'm hoping my white privilege card works out on that. It'll be my third time.
Tell them you're down with Walls. Maybe Walls will help you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to get a $50,000 tax break from Kamala, according to her latest pandering, for all startups and small businesses, right? Right?
You're right.
Pander.
Not a bad gig if you can get it. Lee Joe, got to run. Thank you. Concerned in Emmett with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Concern.
Good morning, Kevin. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the border issue. For one, we have in Congress the other day, 140 some Democrats voted against sending people back across the border that were rapists and child molesters. We had 148 Democrats voted against that bill. It's just shocking to me. So this border issue, now they want to give them all citizenship. Let me break this down for the liberals. If you had a business and whatever the business was, and you had a board of directors that, help position things and make decisions and financial decisions, would you want somebody on your board that knows nothing about your business, knows nothing about how it got started or any of that nature? Would you want them voting to elect different situations in the business? I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We're letting people in this country that have no idea about the Constitution, what it stands for, did nothing, and we're going to allow them to vote simply because of a bleeding heart. They need to be vetted, and they need to become U.S. citizens before they should vote. That's the bottom line. I'm so tired of the labeling of people, the Hispanics and the Latinos and the Africans. When are we going to start promoting Americans? I wonder how many German Americans and Irish Americans there are in this country, and we don't label them as German Americans. When it comes to voting, we label them as like that's the Latin Latino voters. Are we voting for Latin countries, or are we voting for Hispania? What are we voting for? We are Americans, and we shouldn't be labeling. Like the previous caller said, be proud of your heritage. That's one thing. But when it comes down to it, as my father fought in World War II, when I asked him what we were, he said, "You're Americans." It's just like the song. We're not prejudiced. We're just Americans. And we need to all join in on that. And having people make, voting in congressmen and voting in decisions, senators and presidents and stuff that have no knowledge of this business coming into this country and voting is just stupidity. Who would do that in a business? Who would hire somebody to make decisions for your business that knows nothing about your business and is not even a member of your business? So I just wanted to put that out there. The labeling is just disgusting anymore. It's like, I don't understand why we have to do that. We're Americans, and you can have a background, but we're Americans altogether. And I just wanted to say that. It's just disgusting how we label things and we categorize everything, and then we wonder why we have a problem in this country.
All right, Concerned. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. R&R, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, R&R.
It was nice to follow some Patriots this morning. I just want to say a couple words about transubstantiation and your worship this weekend. We've got a new father, a padre, to replace Oscar, very much Latino, and all is well in Emmett. I still wait for you to show up and run for the mayor of Emmett.
Well, look, I could be the mayor in the morning.
Well, I will tell you, Kevin, in Idaho law, the mortician can arrest the sheriff, and the mortician's a friend of mine. So when you get that job, watch out for my mortician.
I think that's a good idea. I think we should just go somewhere and just spend the day there, and I could be the mayor, like the governor does the Capitol for the day. I could be the mayor in the morning for the day.
No, you could do something, man. Hey, what's going on with the colonel and your mom as far as relocating back to Idaho?
Well, they came out here and they had a good time, and they're looking to move out here.
That's gonna. I'm still an advocate of Greater Idaho.
Of course, my dad likes to remind me of what I was like with a kid when I would make up words when I was reading things, and it was very humbling to go back to that. And I go, wow. You got a good memory there, Pops.
You are the jester of the mountain people, and now that Idaho's not on fire, the rains have come a little. I mean, it's still on fire, but it's great to have your voice, and I advocate that you get a booster station to Eastern Idaho because we love you all over the Treasure Valley, but we need you in Franklin, Oneida County, where I hail from.
It's funny because we have a lot of people for years. They try to get the show on over there, and I'm not really into the management or anything, but they said that this program in Eastern Idaho would be even bigger than it is here because of the people.
You've lost about a third of a K Millie, so you're quite the dignitary anywhere you go anymore. So,
R&R, anything else, young man? I got to run. I'm already late.
Pray for the higher power if you're LDS or you're Christian or you're Catholic, as I am, to that God will intercede in the election. There you go.
All right. Through all things, it is possible. Through him, all things are possible. Thank you. KIDO Talk Radio. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Kevin Miller in the morning reminding you, Beacon Plumbing says, stop freaking, call Beacon today for all your plumbing needs. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the Idaho Pizza Company studio, traffic down the freeway getting better. Earlier accident near the county line pretty much cleared up right now, but still damage done as we have backups all the way to Franklin and beyond. Have an accident working as well at Vineyard Way and Happy Valley Road in Canyon County. Get paid to bank when you open a new checking account at Horizon Credit Union. Put some extra cash in your pocket. Visit hzcu.org/getpaid to find out how. That's your traffic now on KIDO.
5. Of course, we love Fox News, love being a part of Fox News. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. They say it's Fan Mail Friday. Post your questions below. Can someone tell Harris that she needs to add some protein to her word salads, as it is the proteins that builds a muscle economy? Boy, that is, I like that. Let's see. Why can't the show be called The Four? No offense to them, but let Jessica and Harold move on over to CNN. Got to have a little humor in this. By the way, if you're having some issues with your hearing, or you know someone who's struggling with hearing loss, why don't you call our friends at Hearing Connection? Here's a quick message from them. Don't wait any longer to get the help that you need. If left untreated, it can lead to social isolation and depression, and even lead to an increased risk of developing dementia. Hearing Connection is now offering a 30-day risk-free trial of the latest and greatest hearing aids, the Signia AX. Don't let hearing loss hold you back any longer. Call now for a free hearing evaluation and a risk-free trial. Right? Risk-free trial of the new Signia AX. Call 208-488-3255 today. And let's face it, start enjoying life to the fullest again. Don't you hate that when you're trying to watch the shows or something and somebody interrupts you, and it shouldn't be painful, it shouldn't be disruptive? That's where you give our friends at Hearing Connection a call at 208-488-3255. That's local, 488-3255, Hearing Connection. Please tell them Kevin Miller sent you. By the way, something that we're going to work on that we didn't really pump up as we should. Every September, I think that we should do this, more of it, and we haven't, so I apologize. September, and let's face it, every month should be Suicide Prevention Month. Every 40 seconds, someone loses their life to suicide. If you know someone who is suicidal, please call 988. 988 provides 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, free and confidential support to people in distress. We don't want to lose you or someone you know. 988. Suicide prevention continues here. We've been having some fun with the clips, and earlier we had a clip of a congresswoman who got ripped on CNN, Nancy Mace. And by the way, Nancy Mace, she's, well, how do you describe her? Do you call her a hot ticket? Do you call her a hot this, a hot that? Probably not anymore in the politically correct world we live in. So she goes on a show, and then you have a guy. Now, again, because it's all about identity politics, not that it matters to me, but we're going to do this. She is a young white woman. He is an older black man. And I have a theory about relationships when it comes to men. Men believe that they're still the guy they were in high school, or still the guy they were in 7th grade or 9th grade, or maybe I'm just projecting. Maybe this is how I view it. And on one hand, you go, hey, I could still do this, I could still do that. And if you saw the last Matrix movie where, we have Neo, how he was, we all thought that he looked, but how he really looked, that's how young women view older men. But it doesn't stop older men from maybe asking them out. And so here you have Michael Eric Dyson, professor, used to be at USC, made a name for himself on cable news, talking about the aggrieved, goes after Nancy Mace, and then, according to Nancy Mace, really goes after her.
I would like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, He says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Without
then
objection.
The guy
Order.
says I'm gorgeous in all these photos. I don't think he's that bent out of shape on how anyone pronounces Kamala. And if we're going to have that standard, you got to hold it to both sides, not just one or the other.
So that's embarrassing. By the way, people take themselves too seriously. First of all, if you're going to hit on someone you just called a racist, chances are you shouldn't send the kissy emoji. And remember, these are adults. These are opinion makers. These are people that we're supposed to look at being knowledgeable. So here we have Mike Eric Dyson, who now says he was not trying to hit on her. It's kind of like the problem children at work. So he takes to the video to get his side of the story out.
Hey, my friends, Michael Eric Dyson here. Just want to clear something up, a vicious untruth and rumor that's being spread by Congresswoman Nancy Mace claiming I was trying to hit on her. So I'm trying to figure this out. So this is our complete text exchange that she says proves I was trying to hit on her. We were on CNN together. She was vicious. She was nasty. She refused to call Kamala Harris by her right name. We had a bitter exchange about that. She claims in the interview that I called her racist when I went out of my way to say she wasn't a racist. I said, you're a wonderful woman. But let me say this to you, because I know you probably didn't understand this or mean it. But when you call Kamala Harris out of her name, that is perpetuating a legacy of inequality and of white subordination of black people. Oh, so you called me a racist? No, I didn't. So she's looking for some reason to try to exploit the situation. This is the text exchange.
Now, he's going to read us the text exchange. You know how it is. If, in fact, you're going to go after people, when you have to explain, you already lost. By the way, I want to thank Tea Party Bob for the wonderful, and this is, Tea Party Bob and I are like the alter egos, if you will. I think on this program I have two daddies. I have Patriot Ray and I have Tea Party Bob. And Patriot Ray is, always generous, always nice, always optimistic. And then there's me and Tea Party Bob where, we tell it like it is. Sometimes people don't really want to hear it. So Tea Party Bob going, hey, you, Kevin Miller. And I'm going, huh? Yes, Tea Party Bob. Before you expand your reach, why don't you get your app fixing? And I'm going, Tea Party Bob, I'm not in charge of the app. I love the app. And I'm sorry if the app is going anywhere. And if you have a problem with the app, then I really think that you should, contact the app people. And of course, Tea Party Bob would say,
You really just pushed the right button, my friend.
And I'm going, Tea Party Bob, I didn't push the right button.
You really just pushed the right button, my friend.
So again, you think about this. These two are pushing each other's buttons.
You really just pushed the right button, my friend.
Yeah, so why do you think that Nancy Mace would make that up? And you're thinking, we have people that are working 2 or 3 jobs. And we have all these folks that are sending emojis. By the way, nothing personal, but I think when you reach a certain age, you really shouldn't send a kissy emoji. Now, maybe to friends and family, or I don't know. We have emoji on emoji crime here. Now, in California, you can't really send emojis. By the way, Mike Dyson, he's 65 years old. So you would think at 65, you wouldn't be sending you wouldn't be sending texts or emojis. By the way, Nancy Mace, I thought she was a lot younger, 46. 20 years, what is that, May to December romance? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Really appreciate you listening. Working for you, Kevin Miller. And you call someone a racist who's 20 years your junior, chances are she's not going to go out with you. Now, Michael Eric Dyson says I ain't trying to hit on this woman. No day. Nancy Mace says, here is the kissy emoji. Have we solved the world's problems today? I don't know. However, it does take our eye off the ball. We'll get back to some serious issues coming up next. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Don't forget today, Clay and Buck. A lot going on with Clay and Buck today. Obviously, the latest concerning the campaign and the polls. And I know a lot of people are angry about the polls. Well, they're not going to tell you. You know, sometimes I think we get so naive. They're not going to tell you that, hey, man, it's a toss-up. They want to squash any type of enthusiasm. What do they call that? Tamping down the base? Tamping down expectations? And by the way, I know we've sent out everything else in the mail and everything, but there's no way that early voting should be starting now. Maybe you have 7 days before or 2 weeks before, but mail-in voting, let's get back to Election Day being Election Day, not election week, not election month. You know, it's kind of like what happened with Christmas. Christmas used to be in December. Now, Christmas is celebrated before Thanksgiving. You know, let's get back to the traditional election day. Is there anything wrong with that? No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's the way things should be. Less chance for any problems. And let's face it, thankfully in Idaho, I believe we don't have any problems compared to other states. But in these other states where we have the floating chads, we have the boxes under the desks, I think there are a lot of problems. Don't forget our friends at Beacon Plumbing. They say stop freaking, call Beacon today, beaconplumbing.net. Kevin Miller, Fox News Now. Era of sports last night. No, we're not going to do a sports report, but the Los Angeles Dodgers, last night their guy Shohei Ohtani became the first player in Major League Baseball to record 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in a single season. And by the way, you have people at the Morning Brew saying he signed a record $700 million contract. Now they're saying they might have underpaid. Speaking about getting paid, yesterday, big news on the markets. Everything is up. Well, of course. The Fed gave the Harris-Biden administration a great gift. If it were the Republicans, they would have done the same thing. You see what I'm saying? I mean, obviously now it's time to buy. Never mind the national debt. Never mind anything else. It's time to buy, sell. Thankfully, you don't have to hear me meander anymore. Our great friend Jared Halpern joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio from Fox News Radio. Hello, Jared.
How are you?
I'm meandering a lot.
Well, whenever I talk about the Federal Reserve, I tend to do the same thing.
Yeah, boy. Who would have thought they lower the rates and the market blows up? Couldn't have seen that one coming.
Well, listen, the idea that they lowered the rates had long been expected. You talk to a lot of people, especially in the administration, they sort of thought that perhaps this was overdue. That being said, the Federal Reserve is an independent agency. President Biden yesterday, in his remarks, said that he has never spoken to these types of issues with the Federal Reserve chairman. He actually said he's never spoken to the Federal Reserve Chairman, which isn't true. But then it was kind of cleaned up by Jared Bernstein, who said what he meant is that he doesn't talk to each other about interest rates and things like that. At any rate, it certainly signals for the administration that what they have been trying to do as it relates to Bidenomics or whatever you want to call it, is working, right? Because the Federal Reserve had these interest rates up at historic highs for 2 years to beat back inflation. This is the first time they've lowered rates now in 4 years since before the pandemic, and a lot of that being viewed as an indication that the Federal Reserve believes that the sort of inflation crisis is beyond us. Inflation is now at about 2.5%. It's still higher than the Federal Reserve wants it to be. They kind of aim, they say, at 2%. Nonetheless, you are starting to see, the labor market kind of flatline a little bit, not, again, unexpected. But these are steps now that the Federal Reserve is going to take. The economic impact is that, mortgage rates, home loans, student loans are going to go down. And that's ultimately, good for consumers, good for Americans. And that's why there's obviously a little bit of a political element to this, given that this was the last time that the Federal Reserve would meet to make these types of decisions before the election. Now, they have another meeting a few days after the election in November. There is an expectation that they will further reduce interest rates, maybe not by 50 basis points. That's a pretty significant drop. But that, they kind of are now hedging not against inflation, but against kind of the labor market that is readjusting now to the economy.
Jared Halpern joining us from Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. So, Jared, how do you see the race playing out here as we roll?
Well, it's going to be close, right? And I do think that when you look at things like the Fed, the economy remains the number one issue for voters. Poll after poll after poll shows that it is issue number one. Inflation, what things cost, all of that. So clearly the economy and how Americans feel about their own economic empowerment, how they feel about their own finances will weigh heavy on this election. I do think it's notable that over the last couple of weeks, we have seen polling that indicates while President Trump remains his approval rating on the economy, voters favor him on the economy more than Harris, certainly more than Biden, but by not quite the same margin. That used to be like a double-digit advantage for Trump. That's gone down to the single digits. Again, doesn't mean that it's not going to go back and forth, and I don't think you're going to see polls that show that, Harris now has the advantage on the economy. But if she can narrow that gap, certainly when you kind of look at all of the other issues, that helps her campaign. But I don't think there is any indication in any polling I've seen as of late, any of these trends that indicates that, this is anything more at this point than a coin toss 50-50 election.
Yeah, despite, a lot of money being spent, a lot of enthusiasm, she hasn't pulled away.
Well, and not just the money, but think about the tumult, right? I mean, we've had now a shooting of the former president. We have had the Democratic Party change their nominee. We have had 2 conventions. We have had 2 debates. All of these are generally things that can really drive can really drive elections and polling, and they haven't. I mean, the numbers, especially for Trump, are remarkably steady.
Jared, anything else you'd like to share with us today?
No, let's try and have a calm weekend. President Biden is actually hosting leaders of the Quad. It's the U.S., Australia, India, and Japan. He's hosting them at his home in Wilmington, Delaware, which is interesting. He's never had a summit in his hometown, trying to put a personal touch on these summits before Monday he heads to the UN for the final time to deliver, at least as president, a address to the General Assembly. So we'll have a little bit of a foreign policy focus, I think, in the days ahead. I don't think the election's going to shift to a foreign policy. That usually does not. It's not usually a top tier issue. But listen, I think that it may give us some opportunities for both the candidates, Trump and Harris, to talk about foreign policy, maybe in a way that is important to at least some voters.
Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio. Thank you, sir.
Sure thing.
Paid for by Living Waters Wellness Center.
All right, let's get to him. The cleanser, he returns. David DeHaas, how are you?
Hey, good. And Kevin, I promise you I won't be sending you a kissing emoji of any kind. My emoji is detox and cleansing, so let's just get that out of the way right from the get-go.
Full disclosure. We appreciate that.
Full
transparency.
disclosure.
Yeah.
You bet. You should have been broadcasting your show from the bowels of Living Waters yesterday. You want to know why?
Well, I was going to ask you a question, but you beat me to it, so go ahead. And this is what we have when we have a true talent on the air. They just grab the reins and go. You can always tell a true talent in radio when they just, sometimes you ask someone a question and they'll go, huh, what? Not David DeHaas. He's rolling. In fact, David DeHaas, we'd like to say you're dope, man.
Hey, you're dope, man.
Back to you.
All right. Word. Yeah. Well, if you had been here yesterday, Kevin, you have got to witness the profound healing that the recent 10-day healing retreat graduates. They just graduated yesterday. Give you a couple of examples. One man, diabetic, he was on, I think, 3 different meds for his diabetes, but he tossed his insulin pump. He tossed his metformin, he told me. He's dropped the amount of insulin units by over 200. His skin went from pasty white to pleasantly pink. In fact, I accused him of going to a tanning booth. Another man's brain fog is gone, and get this, the floaters in his eyes have vanished, and he said he's a big golfer. His golf game's improved. He's cut off some strokes, he said. Another had dark circles under her eyes and severe headaches. Those are gone. Her chronic hip pain is gone, has a ton of energy. And the last guy said he had an amazing spiritual experience, feels way more relaxed. Some of the benefits of being in the bowels of living waters on a 10-day healing retreat.
Well, we love the bowels. So what's coming up this Sunday at 9?
Well, the weather's dropped, the temperatures drop. When that happens, our immune system can get a little shaky. So I'm going to be giving you all the great tips to help boost your immune system starting now so you don't go in to the fall here with any kind of sickness. We're going to keep your motor humming.
That is Sunday at 9. David DeHaas, anything else? We sure appreciate you, and we love the content and the creativity.
Well, thank you. Well, the best thing they can do to learn about this is go to livingwaterscleanse.com. And there's a video called The 4 Natural Laws of Healing, and everyone needs to watch that. I teach you how you're going to heal yourself. I teach you that. I give you that free. So do that, or you can call the office at 208-3789-911.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Have a blessed week.
You too.
Paid for by Living Waters Wellness Center.
And lo and behold, speaking of our friend that needs to be cleansed, like me, the commissioner, Kent Goldthorp. Good morning.
Well, just a minute. I'm going for a bowl of prunes here, dude.
Prunes and fiber, yes.
Yes, okay. Well, from the bowels of the radio station to my cell phone, good morning to you.
And good morning to you. Good morning to the listening audience. Kent Goldthorp, ACHD Commissioner. Good to have you with us. And we always like conversations with Kent. We apologize. You got bumped yesterday by the Attorney General, so I'm glad that we could get with your people and we could schedule that. And I make that apology public. So good to have you with us, and we take a look at where we are right now. Kent, with all due seriousness, you weren't running around looking at signs. A lot of signs got destroyed last week, and apparently now the Republican Party is offering a $5,000 reward for anybody that has the information of who destroyed the "Don't Californicate Idaho" signs.
Yeah, that's kind of a joke there, I'm sure. Red herring, $5,000 fine or reward for nothing, for things that their people have been doing for many years, including to their own Republican opponent candidates. I'm laughing. I'm really laughing. But actually, I can't fall over. I'm on a stool waiting by my mailbox for my absentee ballot.
My man. We'll get to that in a second, but you've been involved in politics for how many years, sir?
I only have 20 digits.
I see.
And,
yeah.
So I'll kind of, tap my foot on the ground like the counting horse. It's been a long time.
Okay. It's been a long time. For people that aren't initiated into the politics, are you shocked that people are destroying signs? And does that go on all the time or not at all?
It goes on all the time. All the time. I mean, I'm not going to, I could spend all morning giving you absolutely concrete examples, including names and dates if I research back on my notes. But this is just an absolute nothing burger. I was called the other day to ask if I would, because I was looking for a sign for the against ranked choice voting. I had 2 choices. One was the rude sign, I'll call it, and that talked about Californicating Idaho, which is a term that's been used since at least the first wave of folks from California that came into our valley in 1990, and something that's absolutely a ridiculous statement to just say no about ranked choice voting, about Prop 1.
No, well, hold on. Before you get going, and I apologize for interrupting, but you've really piqued my interest on this. Do you have a problem with the negative sign, don't Californicate Idaho? Because, again, you're always trying to reach a lot of people. So tell us if you have an issue with that or not. And I'm not attacking you. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I have an issue with that particular message, and that's strictly personal. So, if I've opened myself up to people calling me a rhino or something far worse than that, so be it. I would just as soon have people use their intelligence as their hormones to decide how to vote. And by
wait a minute, what do you mean hormones?
I should have said their temper.
Yeah.
Because
what's on your mind?
Just a minute, I'll go take my testosterone supplements.
Kent Goldthorp joining us, ACHD commissioner here with Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Okay, so back to this. So we have the signs, and look, when you hear so don't Californicate Idaho, what's the harm in that? What's the harm in saying that?
It's just plain stupid. It appeals to the lowest level of intelligence or understanding or experience of the low information voters who happen to call themselves conservatives, if there are any, and I know there are. I have dozens of friends who are recent migrants from California. I believe that probably 75% of them, if you gave us a questionnaire, would prove to be more conservative than I am. So, and Phil McGrain will tell you, because they do all kinds of data collection, that California Republicans coming into Idaho are probably very close to, if not winning, the conservative contest. They're very conservative people by and large. So, bring them. I haven't met any, and there may be some, but I haven't met any that are trying to change Idaho into San Jose.
All right. Well, maybe somebody from the Republican Party will have a problem with that, and they'll give you a call. Kent Goldthorp joining us. So
I had a 30-minute call with them yesterday when they asked me for a $40 contribution for a yard sign. So I probably won't be having a sign in my yard or anywhere else.
Well, they want to charge you for a yard sign?
Oh, yeah. But they said, well, this is just to cover our costs. A yard sign costs $4. A 2x4 sign costs $12. They wanted $40.
So you're saying was it the state Republican Party or who?
I was told by my district chairman that it was the state Republican Party that was in control of the signs.
And they wanted to charge you. And you know all about signs because you've bought them for years, right?
Oh, yes.
Well, you got to make a buck somehow.
I guess, but, you can just, it's like your caller who I love, this guy, Hank. When Hank was in the Central Committee as a precinct committeeman, that guy put his mouth and his hat together, and he raised more money by passing around that beaver skin hat of his than I think I saw anyone else raise in about 12 years.
I'm going to say this to get us both in trouble. Okay. When Tom Luna and Raul Labrador were running the Republican Party, I don't think they charged you $40 for a yard sign, allegedly.
No, in fact, I usually like to talk about those 2x4 signs. I call them the Labrador signs. He was the one that probably made those the most popular. They're easiest to see without getting a big 4x8 sign like you see on the interstate or something. And so I've used Labrador signs and Labradors door hangers for a lot of years.
Well, we appreciate that full disclosure. Our great friend Kent Goldthorp joining us. So let's go to mail-in ballots. What's your take on those? To me, I'm going, really? We're going to send those out now? Let's get rid of them.
I don't know why mail-in ballots in Idaho are even a thing, period. They aren't. We have absentee ballots. Absentee ballots are as verified and verifiable as when we walk into the polling place. I think that we are disenfranchising a huge number of voters if we made that illegal and said they had to show up. And I'll give you an example. For over a month now, my very best friend in life, who has been my most influential mentor who's been at death's doors and still is critically ill, and who I'd visit every day if I could, I probably broke the ballot harvesting laws this last month by making sure that he had an absentee ballot request filed properly. And I know the law says, oh, you can't go and get a ballot for somebody else. Well, tough. You know, when someone who's been and he's a Californian, by the way, came in 1990, he's been a loyal conservative to the nth degree Republican for his entire life, totally unable to get his own ballot. And so I helped him. And, you know, I'm waiting here for the cuffs to be put on.
Wow. You wanna take some calls, Kent?
Sure. You know, you got me fired up about absentee ballots. You got to have me on one phone, Phil McGrain on one phone, and then some idiot on the other phone.
All right, let's go to our great friend Ronna Lee joining us on KIDO Talk Radio with Kent Goldthorp. Good morning, Ronna Lee.
Well, greetings. I just wanted to call. I have been volunteering at the headquarters, and the $40 sign is the 4x8. It is not one of the yard signs. The yard signs are $5, and we are asking for people to donate to the cost of those signs because it takes a lot of money to do a lot of signs, and there have been a lot of signs that have been produced and going out in the community. And so, yeah, I just wanted to find $40 is true, but it's a 4x8.
I am totally grateful that you clarified that, because you and I both know what the signs cost, and now it's very clear. And I would gladly pay $40 for a sign, just not one that says "Don't Californicate Idaho."
And you know, it's interesting on that fact. The people that I talked to from California, they realize we're talking about their election process, not them. And we are grateful for those good hearts that have moved here because they love freedom and they knew that they had lost it in California. And so they are here, and they are some of our stalwarts, and we do love them. And the ones we talk to are not offended by Californicate, because that's why they left California, was because their system is so screwed up.
Well, you know, I really avoid asking people if they like that term, because it's, I guess, most offensive to me. I'd hate for someone to refer to my migrating somewhere as some kind of fornication myself, and so I assume that word is. I assume that word is.
It's the election system. It's the political system, not the people.
Yeah, Kent.
Okay, I have seen and heard many times.
But before we let Ronna Lee go, we all love you, Ronna Lee, and I know sometimes I drive you crazy, but you always inspire us, and you always volunteer, taking time to make our great state, our great country better, and we thank you for that.
Thank you. I do love America, and I figure I'm going to my grave fighting the good fight. So, yeah, everybody needs to.
All right. Take care, Ronna Lee. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was hoping she'd get you some more. Let's go to Feminist with actual feminist from somewhere with Kent Goldthorp and Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Hi. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. Welcome to the program, and here's our friend Kent.
All right. Hi. Good morning.
Greetings.
So I am a transplant from Washington State. I live in Meridian. I have read, that all these conservatives from other places are moving to Idaho, and initially I was very encouraged by that. And then I see the voter turnout, and I feel like people with conservative values are moving here, but they're not voting. And so I've seen like 13%, 17% turnout. It's a concern to me.
Bingo, another problem, even bigger than our attitudes about Californians, and that's the lackadaisical, lazy, sit on your hands, do nothing, expect everybody else to vote for you, and then do what you want done, even though you won't spend any time or effort to make it happen. That is the biggest problem with the voting system in Idaho or anywhere else.
I agree. I feel like that's where the energy should be placed, is how to encourage and activate these people to vote.
You know, you might not know this, but in my position as an elected official, probably one of the most, the times that I feel the most grateful are when folks call me and they're angry. And then I kind of force them by leading them through the process of solving the problem themselves. And they go, wow, I had no idea I could have this kind of impact. And if everybody understood that they as an individual could have an impact, we'd be a lot better off and more people would vote.
Exactly. Very, very important. I will say I kind of agree with Roname on the Californication term. I feel like it's more about the policies of California. We don't want to see those coming here. And, just on the topic of ranked choice voting, that's definitely a leftist-leaning type policy that I hope does not come to Idaho.
It's totally leftist, totally different, disenfranchises our voters. It does nothing to open the elections without completely destroying them at the same time. Just my opinion.
Exactly. Well, I appreciate your position. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Appreciate you listening to KIDO Talk Radio. All right, Kent.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Kent, can you hang on for a minute?
Sure.
All right, more coming up as we continue to debate with our great friend Kent Goldthorp. We've got Fry Sauce, Mike in Boise, Kevin Miller. KIDO Talk Radio, thank you for joining us. Quite a hornet's nest.
Yeah, I'm just glad that the break took so long because I've been busy trying to sell my pre-ban walkie-talkies. And Hamid the Arab has offered $5,000 for them because they won't blow up.
Thank you, and I dumped that one. All right, let's go to Fry Sauce. He wants to talk to Kent on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Fry Sauce.
Yeah, good morning, Kevin. You're a big inspiration. I just want to tell you, every day that you do your broadcast, it's just very inspiring. Mr. Goldthorp, I just wanted to address your question, how California exerts their influences here in the Great Treasure Valley, and that is through, I would say, the workplace, meetings, their opinions. Everybody's different, but I've noticed the hiring practices have been proportioned accordingly. I've seen it, by surveying who's working there, and we've also talked about the license plates. They don't switch over to Idaho plates very often, so the signs are there.
Kent?
Well, I appreciate that. I can't comment on what goes on in the workplace because at my workplace, all the Californians and I know are talking about hunting and fishing. But when I was in the insurance industry for decades, I noticed absolutely what you said about license plates. And boy, was there a lot of upset folks from California and other places who did not want to change their plates when they figured out real quick that that it was a lot tougher to get insurance and a lot tougher to convince the judge they were Idaho residents or the Fish and Game when they went to get a license if they didn't obey Idaho's rules about changing their plates and their driver's license. So that is a fact in my mind.
Right, to the point, it was just the hiring practices, when you see people hiring their own, as I would say, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Fry Sauce, and we thank you for the nice comments, Kent. Maybe it'd be nice if you gave us some nice comments. Let's go to Mike in Boise for...
Well, I told you your wife was referring to you as Fabio the other day, so for goodness sakes, that's a compliment.
Not to her eyesight. Kent Goldthorp joining us. Let's go to Mike in Boise with Kent and Kevin Miller. Good morning, Mike. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Kent and Kevin.
Hey, greetings.
So, Ken, let me explain to you what California means to me. It comes down to, as you said, we're returning Idaho into San Jose. Well, yes, we are, for two reasons, not the ones you mentioned. Number one, like Carville said, it's all about the economy, stupid. And the other reason gets down to Compass. So let's take the economy and what was just said about these employees. 100% of economic development in the state of Idaho is focused at big business attraction and retention, bringing those corporations from California and all the others into Idaho for job creation. 0% of economic development in this state is focused on the 55% of all employees in this state in the private sector that reside in businesses under 20 employees. 0. It's not even, it is that binary. And so you get what you deserve, which is you get the corporations coming in with their culture and what you discussed. And you get the congestion. So let's go to how do you manage growth? The last time I heard you talk about planning, you said, we didn't see this coming. And then I look up Compass from 2006, and they saw the growth coming. And how are they going to manage it? The same way it was managed back in San Jose. And also a part of that is following the federal blueprint. And so the part about we didn't see this coming, we didn't see the congestion, we didn't plan, well, Compass did. And as Kevin told me, for some reason, Compass is irrelevant. But it should have been planned, and it wasn't. Well, actually, it was. And so you get what you plan for. So the most powerful forces, how you manage growth and your economic development and job creation strategy. If you're going to do it like California, you're going to Californiate Idaho and blame it on the Californians.
Well, there's one thing you didn't take into consideration, and that is for every 100 jobs, and it's usually more like 1,000, that come in from the big businesses that the Department of Commerce attracts into the state of Idaho, there's probably 5 times that much impact on small business, and that's a fact. I don't know why you
explain that.
No.
Explain
that's
it.
a fact.
It is. Okay, explain the dynamic that you just put out in the talking point.
Because the folks that move here need goods and services. Those are not provided by
I
their
understand
big
that.
employer.
Well, if you look at the Mercatus report, which is what the governor cited to say he's the least regulated state, they debunk all of the current methods used to bring in business, the one that you said included. They've done extensive studies on that. And you can't debate Mercatus.
So why doesn't he fire his Department of Commerce people if he thinks they're doing such a bad job?
Who?
Because that's not true. That's why.
Well, you need to check your sources, and you haven't. I'll be happy to send it to you.
I'm part of the organized effort to attract business to the state of Idaho, and that's part of why I know you're wrong.
Because you're part of it? How do you don't even know what I do? So I'll be happy to send you the information, and you should be curious about it.
True.
Okay, so you're debunking Mercatus, and yet you cite them as the source for us being the least regulated state, which is a method to attract big business here. It's on the Department of Commerce. It's the main sales pitch. And yet you won't dive in or even consider reading what Mercatus has to say about the economic development practices in the state, one of which you mentioned.
Well, I know the impact of bringing those people into the state, and I'm not going to read every dog and pony report that's out there, that whether it agrees or disagrees, I see it in action. I don't write about it. Now, you asked about growth. One thing you forgot to mention was how excited you would be to double or triple or quadruple your property taxes to get ahead of that growth. And I don't think you're that excited about doing that. We have had the lowest property tax rates for roads probably in the United States in terms of mill levies for many, many years. And it caught up with us, bit us on the butt. You can call me names and hold me personally responsible for the last 50 years if you want to. I could care less. It hasn't been through trying to plan. What it has been a big part of is we cannot plan for land use plans that change all the time. The Highway District, the Department of Transportation, are not in charge of land uses. So when someone says we're going to build a a huge greenfield development 30 miles out of town, and you need to give me $40 million worth of roads to support my development, and I don't have to pay for it, that's a problem. And we cannot plan for those because we have to ding you for it, and we're not going to.
Well, all I know is that nice farm across from Costco is gone. Mike, thank you for the call, and I blame you for that, Kent. Let's go to...
I know.
Let's go to Cindy in Meridian with the rather pugnacious Kent Goldthorp on KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Cindy.
Hi, Kevin. Wow. All I wanted to do was talk about the signs. I'm going to back off and do that.
That's good. Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks for your input, Commissioner. I just wanted to say one thing about the signs. I don't particularly agree with the advertisement either. However, what I have to say is I've seen this for years. Everybody puts these signs up, no on this, yes on that, this person's name, no on this, yes on that. And a perfect example of it came up the other day. I think I called in and talked to Kevin about it. I was with a very conservative friend, and they said to me, "Oh, I want to vote yes on one." And I said, "What?" And they go, "I want an open primary." Well, it took 15 minutes for me to try and explain why you don't want to vote for one. But my point is, you can stick a sign out there that says no on one. But if you stick a sign on there that says don't Californicate Idaho, people are going to wake up to that. They're going to read it, and they might reconsider voting a yes on one, which is my only point.
Yeah, Kent, what about you? You're not about Californicating.
That's a possibility. Nobody can predict or impact to any great degree the way people respond to signs. My opinion is that signs, especially for candidate signs and first-time candidate signs, are absolutely meaningless, and they're a waste of time and money. People don't vote for someone because they see a name on a pretty sign, period.
I agree. Yes. You got to catch their attention, especially in this day and age with the mass media and TV and everything. You just have to come up with something original. May not always agree with it, but I think it's more effective than just a no on one sign.
Agreed. And that's unfortunately part of the reason why it takes so much money to run for office. If you're going to get people's attention, and this is speaking as a retired salesman, you have to touch them somehow 5 to 7 times before they're going to buy your product. And so, seeing a sign 5 to 7 times is not those touches. Receiving things in the mail, seeing things on the internet, on Facebook, on whatever, you have to touch them a number of times in a way that they want to be reached with your message before they're going to remember who you are. And signs just don't do it.
Cindy, thank you for the call. But Kent, if that's your logic, then why do people continue to use signs? So what is it, just an effort in stupidity?
I don't know what it's an effort in. I put signs out myself, but I happen to have lived in my area before I ran for office for over 40 years. Not everybody knows me, but the joke is if I don't know everybody, I know someone who does. And the message about me in particular got out very easily. I was involved very directly and for a long time with my particular political party, and that helped to get my name out. It also helped to get support. For someone to move into the area, get mad at a particular problem or issue that they see as meaningful to them, and then to decide to run for office, they're just wasting their time and money. And I don't want to talk about people who did waste their time and money, but if they stayed in the neighborhoods, if they worked in community projects, if they made it so that people knew their name and those same people wanted to share their name with others, they could not miss running for office and winning.
All right, Kent Goldthorp joining us, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. I think we've covered the signs. So what are you hearing, the word on the street concerning ranked choice voting? All of a sudden, we're starting to see some big signs, or not signs, but money pouring in to convince people to do this.
Well, I'll tell you something first generally about the initiative process. One of your callers, I think it was Brian, and I like him a lot. He's fun to listen to. He talked about his family tree the other day, and I thought he was getting to the point where he was related to Rasputin, but that was kind of funny. Russian royalty, And but he had mentioned the times that ranked choice voting. Voter initiatives had been passed in Idaho and then overturned by the legislature. And I was so disappointed that he considered it such a blessing that term limits had been overturned by the legislature after it had been demanded by the people. I think voter initiatives have a place because the folks that wrote our Constitution realize that those in government who make the laws might not have the interests of the people first and foremost 100% of the time. And so I love seeing a voter initiative. I don't like seeing the money to pay for a voter initiative come from places other than the people in the state of Idaho who supposedly want it. And I would encourage voter initiatives when people think that it's that they're being ignored.
I thought I asked you a question.
Well, I am still dead set against ranked choice voting.
Well,
as I've said many times.
I don't think that we said that you were in favor. What I'm saying is, what's the word on the street? Do you think this goes down based on who you talk to all the time?
Oh, thanks for straightening me out again. I think it's up in the air. I think it's as up in the air right now as Trump's election is.
You really? And why would people vote for it, Kent?
Because they've been hornswoggled. They say, "Oh, gee, we don't like the fact that there's a single party in control of the state of Idaho. We don't like the one particular group or the other particular group, and now this gives us a chance to open things up." But they don't understand that open things up means kick their butt out of the door in terms of the impact of their vote.
So if this goes through, do you agree with most of us that think that this will allow the libs to be relevant? And you do talk to the libs.
I have good relationships with a whole lot of libs, even though we don't agree with each other. And I smiled broadly when, and it was the first time I remembered hearing it when Tea Party Bob mentioned that his spouse was of the opposite persuasion. That's awesome. But I do know that they feel like ranked choice voting will influence their ability to be a bigger impact in Idaho very positively for them. And so I and a lot of people are not going to like what I say next. I think that the state of Idaho and the folks that make all the decisions for us that we elect into office spend far too little time trying to understand other points of view. And I believe that government is an exercise to some degree or another in compromise so that everyone can be happy to live in Idaho and not just one particular persuasion. I don't think we're doing a very good job with that. And so I understand why those of a different political persuasion are so excited at something coming down the pike that might impact their ability to make more of a difference in Idaho in the way that they think is important. So that is something that I consider that maybe the independents among us, those that are not affiliated with a particular party, they might be feeling like they're going to be better off because of ranked choice voting, when in fact they're not. And I hope we don't have to find that out the hard way.
All right. Final question from our friends at Investigate West. Here's the headline. Among Idaho lawmakers, it's Freedom Caucus versus Freedom Caucus.
Freedom Caucus versus what?
Versus themselves.
Oh, well, we're all our own worst enemies. You just look at what Dave Petzold tries to articulate so well about Donald Trump being his own worst enemy. Well, it's that way with all of us and with most organizations. And I happen to know some of the folks at the Freedom Foundation pretty well. I've had some meetings with their new director, and that may well be. My job is to be as transparent and open about what I do in government as is humanly possible, and hope that other people use common sense in interpreting what it is I tell them and what it is I show them that I do, and that they use the same criteria for deciding whether or not to support or work over or whatever anybody else, any other organization, any other philosophy. And so, that's a long way of saying I think we're all our own worst enemies sometimes.
Yeah, that was very insightful.
Okay, Fabio, thank you.
Touche. Kent Goldthorp, we always appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much.
See you now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller Original. Look, if you're not complaining, you're not trying. That's all I'm saying. And, when you're complaining, that doesn't mean that you're wrong. It's funny. People that are like us, my dear friends, we just want accountability, like the good conservatives that we are. And then when people hold us accountable, we have to take the sauce. But when, it's kind of like the liberals. They want to dish it out, but they can't take it. And we see that. And it's so much easier to dish out than to take. But, if my whole thing, I came up with this one. If you ain't complaining, you ain't trying. Speaking of which, coming up next hour, we're going to get back to this clip. This is the vice president telling Oprah that she loves guns. And maybe she will.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun. I did not know that. If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Brian with a quick rebuttal to Kent. Good morning, Brian.
Okay, Ken, just for the record, I'm not related to Rasputin. I just brought him up because he killed my family that I'm related to, for the record. Okay, I was just joking about the cartoon they made about that and, all the black Ouija, whatever. And I am not for ranked choice voting. I don't know where Ken really got that. Maybe he got somebody else mixed up talking with me. I hate it. I mean, I'm the guy that Lee Joy calls the elite clicker that he spells. They say I don't like people move in. Kevin, I'm the guy that called into your show that said, move to Idaho. It's safer here.
Old Bethany, we got a big day going on. What's up?
Hi, Kevin. Yes, it is an amazing day. Today is Dutch Bros Buck for Kids. And so Dutch Bros East Valley and Dutch Bros West Valley have just surrounded us with so much support and care for our kids with cancer and their families. And $1 from every drink sold today will benefit our camps and programs.
Well, and when we're talking about Camp Rainbow Gold, the fundraising, the efforts go year-round, right?
Yes, correct. Yes. So we do 5 different summer camps that take place for Idaho kids with cancer and their families, along with year-round family events, a college scholarship program, and a teen support group. And all of this is entirely free at no cost for the kids and their families going through a pediatric cancer diagnosis. So this means so much to us, and it helps us send the kids to camp.
Well, what type of challenges do these folks and their families have? I mean, you talked about pediatric cancer, but that would, I mean, what does that entail? Is that like a lot of trips to the doctor?
Absolutely, yeah. It totally encompasses your whole life and these families' whole lives. I think we all have been touched by cancer in one way or another, but especially as a kid, you are going to the hospital all the time and doing treatments and talking about it and resting to try to feel better. And if you're a brother or sister, you're always hearing about it and at the hospital while your sibling is doing treatments. And so for a lot of these kids, they haven't had the chance to just be a kid, to get outside, to make friends, to be with other kids who know and understand what they've been through, to ride a bike for the first time. And so that's what we work along with our amazing community to make possible, is for them to experience that.
You know, Bethany, as someone who's been involved with Camp Rainbow Gold, camprainbowgold.org, how do these kids and their families have the courage to make it through? How do they do that? Because, you know, we have kids and grandkids and, you know, we're all kids at heart, but then to all of a sudden go to these places where most of us as adults are intimidated.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say they are the most amazing group of kids and people I've ever had the honor and privilege to meet. And a part of our programming is giving them the opportunity to build a community of support, to find a little bit of reprieve while they're in the midst of their cancer journey. If they're out of it, cancer always follows you, just the impacts and effects of it even after treatment is over. And so that's what we work really hard to do, is to give them that community of support and connections with others who have been through the exact same thing, maybe have the exact same nurse or doctor, or build that support system.
So, Bethany, they can go to Dutch Brothers, and for every purchase, $1 goes to Camp Rainbow Gold today. Is that right?
Yes, every drink. So if you buy 10 drinks, $10 will go to our cancer programs for Idaho Kids with Cancer.
What else can people do?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are entirely reliant on our community. We always need volunteers and a support in that way. We are always looking for if anyone else wants to fundraise in any way. But as far as that goes, please go to our website at camprainbowgold.org, and you can learn more about how to get involved through volunteering and other ways.
Well, Bethany, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Thank you, Kevin. No, just thank you so much for allowing us to share. And please go to Dutch Bros today and get a drink.
Thank you, Bethany. You keep up the great work, ma'am.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, our great friend Bethany, camprainbowgold.org. And if you're listening, today's Friday, go check that out and have a good time, and do something for the kids. Boy, you think about these innocent little kids and the challenges that they have. Boy, God bless the people that make that happen, and obviously the medical professionals that do this day in and day out. We don't give those folks and the support staff enough credit. Okay, how do we go from that to something really that maybe somebody thinks this is a good idea at the time? So, again, maybe you read about this in U.S. history class. Maybe you were one of the people that were alive when this happened. Maybe you remember the Chernobyl or Fukushima or anything else. But before those nuclear tragedies happened, there was 3 Mile Island. And 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania was an island that had nuclear reactors. And I'm trying to think of the movie. It was in the 70s or the 80s, where they had, they did this thing. I think it was called the China Syndrome. Is that right? Where it was about, let's see, it was in 1979. I can't believe I even remember that. But it was a movie. It was an action thriller that really involved a disaster. And the disaster was about a nuclear power plant. And at the time, nuclear power plants were very, very new. And you're going to go to yourself, okay, Kevin Miller, what does this have to do? Well, I just want to set the stage for you. So throughout again, the 70s and the 80s, you had people wondering whether or not nuclear power was good or bad. And again, we've seen some things that have happened. So around this time, either before or after, let me see when the 3 Mile Island happened. So 3 Mile Island was the greatest disaster of nuclear power in this country. And I'm sure many people in Idaho, through INL and everything else, probably were called in to help to solve this problem. So again, you talk about hindsight being 20/20. We had the 3 Mile Island accident that happened in 1979, and we had the China Syndrome movie that came out in 1979. And what does that mean for us today in the age of AI? You don't want to miss this one. I'll tell you about it next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. That's Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Wow, that was great. I'm sorry to call in twice, but yeah, the China Syndrome, I remember watching that, and all of us in America, we were completely convinced that, at that time, if you watch that movie, that how this whole core could actually go to the center of the earth and would That's what they said, which is now we know is an absolute implausibility.
Well, now did you watch the Chernobyl thing? Because that was another fear that they had during the Chernobyl meltdown as well. That's why they had those miners jump in there and really, I mean, you want to talk about, I'm sorry to hijack this, AJ, an unreported tragedy was all those people that died at Chernobyl trying to keep everything safe. My apologies, back to you.
Oh, yeah, no problem. And then also the nuclear submarines that were first developed. And, yeah, there was a whole lot of learning curve there. But here's the reason why so many people don't want nuclear energy to happen. And these are big money backers that like their traditional form of being able to sell coal, gas, or whatever, that nuclear is the only exponential energy that we have. In other words, the energy that goes in to produce it actually comes out more exponentially. It's higher than the level that it is actually used, the energy to produce it. So it does become an economically very good energy. Small cell nuclear would be like an incredibly good solution for the United States, where we're not looking at huge nuclear plants that would take, large swaths of area to support, but smaller, more contained, more easily accessible near water sources that would allow for it, flowing water. The technology has improved so much now at this point that the whole pill and cell condition of it can be protected so much easier. We've come light years ahead in the ability to actually have it. So I don't know the reason why they don't want lower priced energy to actually occur is because everything that the government taxes, the higher price it is, the higher the taxes. And so if something is producing something, like look at a windmill, for instance. You've never been able to recover the cost of a single windmill that's out there. Never. You can't. When they first were going in, they were like $680,000. Now they're millions. You cannot produce it. You have to replace it in a short period of time. They have to use diesel fuel with a large engine to just get them rolling. And they're nothing more than a virtue signal of green energy savings, wind and solar, until they develop the technology that proves to be a higher yield of actual gain. There's no benefit to them. It's just a bunch of green energy money creation and handouts that they use, and that's how the Democratic Party exists. That's everything they do. Welfare, green energy, all of it is a farce. It's just nothing more than to fleece people of money. And no, nuclear would be a wonderful thing to bring back, and in a safe condition, which would be small cell conditions of it.
No, I agree, and we're going to talk more about that in a minute. AJ, you want to give a quick plug to your movie?
Oh, yeah. 1916 Project. Please, everyone, look at it. It explains a lot of things. One of the things I forgot to tell you about is that the whole thing that Margaret Sanger wanted to do, she literally put this in words, to eliminate the black race in this country. And so whenever you go to Planned Parenthood or you support them, you're supporting the destruction of the black community. And unfortunately, as a community, they're the highest rate of abortion per capita than any group of people. And I think it's the most ungodly thing to have and support is Planned Parenthood.
All right, AJ, thank you for the call. Why don't we keep up the pro-life momentum with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Pro-life, thank you for the call.
Yeah, I liked what AJ was saying about Margaret Sanger. She was a total racist, but there was a lot of racism and eugenics stuff back in the 1920s and 30s. But anyway, I want to talk about. I'll say something about nuclear power. Nuclear power works, but the thing is, it's expensive to get started. The government has to authorize it, but they've not been able to do anything with the waste. the radioactive waste that comes from it. They keep it stored in steel barrels, deep in the ground or over at in eastern Idaho over there at the energy center, and there's nothing you can do with it because you've destroyed atoms that should have remained intact. You've murdered atoms, and I believe that God wants all of the articles of the world, the universe, not to be destroyed. That every atom is an important little function of the universe. And when you split it, you've murdered it. You can't bring it back. And that's why you get this radioactive waste that there's nothing you can do with it. They keep saying that we're going to be able to reprocess it, but nobody's been able to even make a dent in that because you can't. So I'm against nuclear power. And
well, you and AJ should have gone back and forth on that. That would have been great.
Yeah, I like AJ. But anyway, the reason I called in is I want to talk about the country of Georgia, that's over there by Armenia and southern Russia. That country just voted that they're going to have laws against LGBTQ. So you're not going to be able to have a pride parade, public presentation or enticement into LGBTQ. And the vote was 84-0. But there's 150 of the legislators, so the ones that were against it, they didn't vote because they were way outnumbered. So the Orthodox Christians and I guess the Islamic people, they have enough sense yet to know that, and this nation also has laws saying that marriage can only be between one man and one woman. So they're against gay marriage too. And that law, Russia has those very same kind of laws. So then I looked at the comments, and the United States and and Europe, the European Union, they're really criticizing Georgia. They wanted Georgia to become a member of the European Union. And now Georgia's saying, no, we're not going to go that way because you guys are perverts. Now, I want to say this about Ukraine.
You said a lot.
Yeah. Well, Ukraine and Zelensky, they're pro-LGBTQ. And
well, I heard, didn't he dress up?
Yeah, he's done a lot of perverted stuff.
Wow.
And if you ever look you can go to the YouTube, just put in there Zelensky plays the piano, and watch that little skit, and that'll tell you all about Zelensky. So anyway,
Zelensky plays the piano.
Yes.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Wait a minute, you played what?
And
what did you do? You played the whole thing. All right, pro-life.
I watched the whole Zelensky plays the piano, and if you think Zelensky is any good at all, you'll just think that guy's a total pervert. And then
all right, thank you for the Zelensky update. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Where were we? Oh, that's right. We were talking about nuclear power and a nuclear accident. So if you don't remember 1979, if 1979 to you is the same thing as 1949 is to me, or 1959 or 1969, I want you to listen to this movie trailer called The China Syndrome. We're building towards something about common sense that may not be so common or sensical that's going on that could impact all of us. It could be the start of Skynet.
The China Syndrome. It's about people who lie, and people faced with the agony of telling the truth.
Right.
People like Kimberly Wells, a television reporter paid to smile, not to think.
A few words about a veterinarian who makes house calls on sick fish. Or is it aquarium calls?
Richard Adams, a cameraman who never learned how to play by the rules.
Wait till you get that other room, get that radiation all over that cute little body.
Jack Goodell, an engineer who knows too much to tell the truth.
In anything that man ever does, there's some element of risk, right? Well, that's why we have what we call defense in depth.
And cares too much to lie.
No accident.
It will start with a tremor in a nuclear power plant. Where it will end will depend on 3 people.
I would say you're probably lucky to be alive. Same for the rest of Southern California.
Jane Fonda.
Let's face it, you didn't get this job because of your investigative abilities. Kimberly, don't fight it.
Jack Lemmon.
There was a vibration.
Michael Douglas.
I don't know that accident is the right word.
Accident is the right word.
The China Syndrome. The harder they try, the more resistance they meet.
They've got their own security man. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you want me to make it any clearer?
The closer they get, the more threatening it becomes. The China Syndrome. Today, only a handful of people know what it really means. And they're scared.
And I'm scared too. By the way, this was the movie trailer for the China Syndrome back in 1979 when nuclear power was controversial, still is. And, oh, those accidents can't happen in America. Well, let me take you to March 28th, 1979. Walter Cronkite, you might have heard about him. You might have seen videos of him. This is him detailing the worst nuclear power accident in America.
It was the first step in a nuclear nightmare. As far as we know at this hour, no worse than that.
This guy's got some great enunciation.
The government official said that a breakdown in an atomic power plant in Pennsylvania today is probably the worst nuclear reactor accident to date. There was no apparent serious contamination of workers, but a nuclear safety group said that radiation inside the plant is at 8 times the deadly level, so strong that after passing through a 3-foot thick concrete wall, it can be measured a mile away. Gary Shepard reports from Harrisburg.
Let's go to Gary in Harrisburg.
The accident occurred here at the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant a dozen miles south of Harrisburg. At about 4 o'clock this morning, 2 water pumps that help cool reactor number 2 shut down. Officials say some 50 to 60,000 gallons of radioactive water escaped into the reactor building, and that the radioactivity penetrated the plant's walls. Steam escaped into the atmosphere, and radiation was detected as far as a mile away. At least 50 workers, and perhaps twice that number, were at the plant when the accident occurred. A spokesman admitted that some were exposed to radioactivity and may have been contaminated, but he claimed no one was injured. All workers were given extensive checks with Geiger counters as they left the plant. Reporters were not permitted inside the facility today, but this is what reactor number 2's control room looked like last September when it was still undergoing testing. It went into commercial service only 3 months ago. Officials from Metropolitan Edison...
Okay, so we got that. And again, that's when men were actually on television. That's right. Men were on TV, and they had deep voices. And here's the synopsis. March 28th, 1979. The most serious accident in U.S. commercial nuclear power plant history occurred. Although its small radioactive releases, by the way, this is courtesy of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, has no detectable health benefits on plant workers or the public. Its aftermath brought sweeping changes involving emergency response planning, reactor operator training, human engineering factors. Basically, it was a failure in the non-nuclear section of the plant to cool the reactors, and then you had a partial meltdown. The world was watching Pennsylvania, for that matter. And it pretty much cut off nuclear power, nuclear energy in this country. Now, why is it important? Because Microsoft wants to build an AI center at 3 Mile Island.
Pennsylvania's 3 Mile Island nuclear plant will reopen in a deal with Microsoft and Constellation Energy. It will help power Microsoft's artificial intelligence centers. TMI was the site of the nation's worst nuclear accident, though the deal involves the plant's undamaged reactor, Unit 1, which closed in 2019 because it was too costly to run. It's a sign of the amount of power needed for data centers for AI. Microsoft has signed a 20-year power purchase agreement with Constellation, the damaged Unit 2 was shut down after a partial core meltdown in 1979. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
Okay, coming up, very quick break. We had the largest nuclear accident in this country. We shut the whole thing down because it's too dangerous. And now we're going to bring it back under the direction of liberal Microsoft and AI. What could go wrong with all of those folks? Don't forget our friends at Beacon Plumbing. They say stop freaking, call Beacon. Kevin Miller on your home for Fox News.
Constellation Energy. It will help power Microsoft's artificial intelligence centers. TMI was the site of the nation's worst nuclear accident, though the deal involves the plant's undamaged reactor, Unit 1, which closed in 2019 because it was too costly to run. It's a sign of the amount of power needed for data centers for AI. Microsoft has signed a 20-year power purchase agreement with Constellation. The damaged Unit 2 was shut down after a partial core meltdown in 1979. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
Yeah, and we just played that moments ago, and by the way, if you're looking for a new iPhone, it's officially released today. Lots of big money there. We'll give you a little preview of that. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. So why in the world would we, you heard the China syndrome, you heard Walter Cronkite, you heard Jenny Consola. Okay, AI, nuclear power, Microsoft. Sounds like a good pair to me. Mark, the watchdog of Eagle, Idaho, with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, sir. A few little things I want to throw out there. First off, you guys all forgot a biggie, and that was what happened after that 9-point earthquake over in Japan, the Fukushima disaster. There was a good one right there for you. We still have not heard. It sort of disappeared from the news about the radioactivity spilling into the ocean because they could not contain that 100%. And they still have not been able to contain that 100%. So there is still stuff leaching into the ocean. And if you watch how a map of whether National Geographic, so how the tidal currents work around the world, how that stuff is getting carried into the other parts of Southeast Asia and contaminating the fish supply out there. So just a little bit of knowledge there. Just the other day, you had Brian call in and talk about Germany and the Ukrainian. Did you hear the one? I sent this to you yesterday, and it had to do with the Ukrainians. During World War II, the Ukrainian Nazis committed genocide against 100,000 Poles. But Zelensky refuses to address the issue, so now Poland plans to block their entry into the East European Union until he does. So the same demon rat party out there and globalists that want to back that globalist little puppet over there is the same country involved with what happened, back in World War II. So Brian was right on. It was mentioned, I guess, over a year ago. There was articles coming out about the Ukrainians that are tied with a certain unit that supported the Nazis over there. Another thing, just a little, how many people are aware that what was East Germany referred to before the Iron Curtain fell down? And, the demon rats love to use the word, we're a democracy. Well, folks, in case, a little bit of history, in case you forgot, because of your slow attention span across America out there, except for those that listen to Kevin Miller and the KIDO Talk Radio Show. And that is, it used to be called the Democratic Republic of East Germany. So there's that term, democratic. And that's exactly what the Democrat Party tries to keep pushing here. One other thing, did you get that little article I sent you? It came from Breitbart. Did you know people that Kamala Harris pledged to decriminalize fentanyl and heroin back in 2019? Did you ever see that? What I sent you there, Kevin?
Yeah, no, I am familiar with that.
Yeah, and another great thing about this, Hen, is Kamala Harris says legal gun possession doesn't keep police from searching owners' homes to check. Now, this is what we have to look forward to. this is what we have to look forward to. And again, the only way Trump is going to lose is through fraud again, because I'm saying that the majority of people will be voting for Trump over the Wicked Witch of the West from Oakland, California. So that's just my thoughts for the day. You have a good weekend, Kevin, there
right.
at KIDO.
My man, thank you very much. Hey, here's a quick message. Why do the numbers 83 and 256 have in common? What do they have in common? 83 is the number of Subaru Crosstreks at Treasure Valley Subaru, and 256 is the payment to drive on a new Crosstrek from Treasure Valley Subaru. You can go there, get great deals. Did you know that they were voted the best in Boise? Just minutes from Boise, they were voted the best in Boise by, who was it? Was it the Boise Music Festival people? No, it's the big one. The Idaho Press, the Boise Weekly, I think. Anyway, or Idaho's best, Boise's best, right? Treasure Valley Subaru, they have the big awards ceremony. People get dressed up and they honor them. So congratulations to Rob and the folks at Treasure Valley Subaru. I know Jeremy, I was just there the other day to help me out with a part. They're all so friendly. Only 4 years and people are going there. And I'll tell you why, because they get great service. They don't get blown off. And by the way, if you're looking for a new Subaru Crosstrek, it's more affordable than other small SUVs. Lease one for $256 a month, or buy one for about $25,000 with 3.9% financing for 72 months. So before you buy a Honda or Toyota or Kia, check out our friends at Treasure Valley Subaru. If you're already a Subaru owner, go see our friends Juan and Ben and everybody else at the parts department or the service department for a free pre-winter maintenance checkup. Treasure Valley Subaru and the Idaho Center Pre-Owned Superstore together on one giant lot at the Idaho Center Auto Mall. Please tell them Kevin Miller sent you. 436-580-KIDO. Tea Party Bob joins us now. Good morning, our rather excited young friend, and we always love to talk to Tea Party Bob.
You really just pushed the right button, my friend.
Now, you're going to get rid of that one of these days. That's from about 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, or my favorite, when you went toe-to-toe with our friend from Fox News. I can't remember his name now. Man. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember that one, yeah. I don't hear very much from him anymore.
Well, he left Fox News. John Decker, that's right here.
Hey, good morning. Is Tea Party Bob a medical professional? Does he have a medical license?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, well, I think that tells you the whole story right there. If you don't have a medical license, you shouldn't be giving medical advice. Just like if I was in a hospital, I wouldn't take advice from someone who wasn't a licensed physician, and I don't think you would either.
I wonder how that worked out for him when he took the COVID shot.
Still bitter after all these years.
You know, Camilla had her audience with Oprah, and now we know if you enter her home uninvited, she's going to shoot your butt. And you kind of wonder what kind of a gun she owns. Because here she is. She still wants to take away our assault weapons so we can't protect ourselves. So, I actually listened to her talk about the school shootings and how this doesn't happen in other countries. But she never mentioned how many of these shootings have been committed by people who are mentally ill and are on antidepressant drugs here in the United States. And I also don't think she realizes that we publicize with signs that schools are gun-free zones and therefore soft targets that leave them vulnerable to these attacks. And she still doesn't understand that guns don't kill people, people kill people. You know, then, of course, there was the discussion on abortion, which is at the bottom of the issues that most voters are concerned about. And it's interesting that she never talks about the 63 million babies that have been killed through abortion since Roe v. Wade. You know, while all of these liberal celebrities showed up to cheer Kamala on, we still haven't got a clue about how Kamala will solve our inflation and illegal alien problems. So this was nothing but another dog and pony show with little or no pertinent content about how she will fix the problems she and Biden caused for the last 3.5 years. And by contrast, Trump has been talking about the issues that people are most worried about at his rallies, which is, of course, the economy and the cost of everything from food to energy and housing as they continue to climb by the day. So I want to thank Kent for your advice and signage, as you're entitled to your opinion, but so is everyone else. The sign that says, "Don't Californicate," is about election. And we have one right here in the center of New Meadows, in case you'd like to come and take a look at one. And by the way, Mike from Boise was right on the economic problems with Idaho because of the tax advantages given to big corporations. If you'd like to educate yourself on that, I'd be happy to tutor you.
Wow, you're going after our boy Kent. What's the matter? There's a little rivalry here?
Kent and I have a love-hate relationship. Sorry, but that's the way it is. And I want to get to this ranked choice voting again. It does have a chance of passing because of the way they have presented it to the low-information voters as an open primary. Words are everything, and they have found a way to sell this to the public as a better way to vote, which will only cause more confusion. And if your audience wants to find out about nuclear energy, they should watch a documentary, Nuclear Now, directed by Oliver Stone. It's on YouTube. And nuclear fusion is the future, not nuclear fission. Fission causes two atoms to slam together. Fusion causes two atoms to fuse together and creates an enormous amount of energy, which is how the sun creates its energy. This is the same process that powers the sun, and it's so much better than fission because it produces no radioactivity. So everybody who's worried about, the problem with fission, you should still be worried about it because the accidents are still going to occur and you're still going to have radioactivity. And they haven't figured out how they're going to get rid of that problem.
Well, let's get back to Microsoft using 3 Mile Island for AI. Now, does that make you uncomfortable?
It scares the living daylights out of me. That's just about how, and I'm glad I live out here.
Yeah, aren't you just down the road from INL, though?
No, sir.
I like that.
No, sir. They're on the east side. We're on the west side.
All right. Anything else you'd like to share with us today, young man?
No, Kevin. Thank you again for the program. I'm having a lot of fun listening to everybody this morning.
Well, we appreciate that. I think the call of the day still has to be David DeHaas and how he creatively talks about the cleanse.
Well, there's a lot of cleansing that needs to be done in this country, but it's mostly with the liberals.
Tea Party Bob, thegemstatepatriot.com. We appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Have a great day, my friend, and thank you again for my time.
Thank you. Let's go to Doug in Mountain Home with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Morning, Kevin. Been listening for quite a while. Yeah, what was that thing you were talking about, the black guy and the white commentary?
Oh, that was Michael Eric Dyson, who apparently, according to Congresswoman Nancy Mace, sent her kissy emojis and said they looked good together, and he denied it.
Kevin, I don't know the guy. I don't know her. I've never even heard of him before, but I've seen this change. When I grew up, I'm 68. I came to this state in 74 in the service as a 18-year-old brat kid. But what I'm getting at is, we see this change especially with the feminine, the female part. And I don't really know if he was complimenting her, if he was against her or what, but I've said things to women about how pretty they are in this, lately, and I was old and I'm ugly. I know that. God's told me that, showed me that. But what I'm trying to say is they take it offensively. And it's because they've been all of this sexual harassment stuff. You can't say nothing nice to a lady anymore, and they take it wrong. You get it?
Look, I like the old days when you could go up to somebody, and not a dude, but go up to and look, let me apologize in advance, a chick, and go, hey, baby. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, baby, in my world, but look at me.
No, and what I'm saying is I really like to see women in dresses.
Yes!
Yeah, I mean, it's what I grew up. I mean, I'm not saying the girls in high school weren't wearing shorts and Levi's. They were, but lots of them wore dresses. My mother.
And they were a lot better women than they are today, in my opinion.
And you didn't see tattoos.
Yep.
Ladies, God gave you some beautiful skin for a reason.
Well, some ladies.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, some of them ain't.
Okay, so let's go to another one. What Tea Party Bob just said about Kamala, whatever you want to call her, Camel Toe Harris. I can't stand the witch. I mean, they're communists. I mean, what do you think they want to take away your assault weapons for?
I've never seen her in a dress, and I don't know how she would respond if I said, hey, baby.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is with these assault weapons, people, the only reason they want to take assault weapons is because they don't want to come at them. They want to be able to come at us with them, but they don't want the same tool in our hand as what they got. And I agree with what President Trump has said here lately, as all of these Venezuelan gang members, they're coming up with the best of the assault weapons, the weapons. Are they getting them when they get here, or are they bringing them?
Good point, Doug. Thank you for the call. Gerald in Ada County with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you for the call, sir.
Hi, Kevin. Boy, you have just all kinds of subjects today. So I'll give my 2 bits on energy and power.
Sure.
The one thing about solar is even California has figured out that the sun doesn't shine at night and the wind doesn't blow all the time. But a lot of times when you look at or press releases, they say this solar power plant has so many megawatts or this wind power system has so many megawatts. You have to multiply that by its utilization factor. How often does it actually run due to sun or wind? Meanwhile, you take a look at plants like coal plants, natural gas plants, geothermal, or nuclear, and those things are typically up in the high 80s or even 90 percentile. This is why Microsoft is looking for nuclear power. They do not want to shut down their AI stuff when the sun doesn't shine and the wind doesn't blow. And if your people want to use a little bit of exercise, the electric vehicle craze. Now, I do own an EV. It's a toy. It's fun. But if we want to change the entire nation to electric vehicles, we will need the equivalent of 100 or more Chernobyl-sized power plants. I don't care what they run on, but Chernobyl was a 1 gigawatt power plant. And there's not enough, lithium to make enough batteries to store our solar power or our wind power. And so there's my 2 bits. And the amount of energy that we need is not, you can't get it without going with some serious nuclear, coal, or let's say natural gas at this point.
All right. Gerald. Bonnie in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning, Kevin. Very exciting. Yes, nuclear power. Yeah, I mean, I sat through all the yes or no on nuclear and closing down all the plants in California, and I believe Gavin Newsom's looking at opening one of them again because they're so short of power. The one it's Southern California. It's so. As well as I think it's interesting that Microsoft wants to be a 3 Mile Island. God, I'm sorry. I think it's funny in a way. No one knows what AI is going to go do or become. I'm just kind of flabbergasted by it. But if you remember Windows 98 and all the other glitches that they produced in Microsoft software, I don't think it's a good idea that they are actually there. But at least they'll be the first ones to go, right? If it blows up. So that would be nice. And as far as the Nancy Mace story, Nancy Mace was on TV, I'm CNN or one of those doofus stations. Anyway, and so is the guy, and she was pronouncing Kamala, whatever, and he didn't like the way she was pronouncing it, and he kept correcting her about 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and she was furious.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's what happened.
She doesn't play around.
Yeah, and so anyway, it was amusing to a certain extent, but the fact that he goes on and says, "Oh, we're good together," and he's married. Remember that. Hey. He's married, and that's why she was so irritated, and she put that in the records of the Congress. Bravo, Nancy. That's a good one. Anyway, have a nice weekend, Kevin.
Bonnie, thank you. Denny with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Denny, thank you for the call. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. Hey, great topic on the cancer and nuke. I watched a small documentary the other night from John Wayne's wife concerning a movie that John Wayne made in the 60s in Utah. The people were told from the production company that made the movie that they had nothing to worry about the fallout material from Nevada into the Utah area where they were filming the movie. 4,000 people were involved in that movie, and in less than 10 years, there was 287 actors and extras died of cancer-related exposure they got in that area from Utah from our great government saying they had nothing to worry about the fallout that they were testing in Nevada. And I just thought I'd make sure that I'd bring that out to you as you're talking about the nuclear situation in Pennsylvania and all these other areas where they've had leakage. And
why would they put AI there? You know what I mean?
Well, the area that they were talking about, they didn't think the nuclear would affect anything in Utah from their testing. Our government was testing in the late 50s, early 60s in the area, and the fallout went all the way from Nevada into Utah. Sandy, I think it's called Sandy Brook or Sandy area of Utah and Georgetown area. And they still have a lot of people today that are still having cancer-related problems.
Well, Denny, I appreciate that. Anything else you'd like to share with us?
Hey, you have a great weekend, Kevin, and I love your program on KIDO.
Thank you, Denny.
Thank you.
God bless. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So you have money you want to spend, money you're looking to burn. How about a new iPhone?
Apple begins selling their new iPhone 16s starting today at its retail stores. There are 4 versions of the new smartphone, the 16 and 16 Plus, as well as Pro and Pro Max versions, all at different price points and with varying components and features. One not yet available is Apple's much-anticipated venture into AI called Apple Intelligence. That feature will come with a future upgrade to the new iOS 18 operating system. Older iPhone 15 models will also have access to it. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Yeah, and those with our iPhone 2s or 1s or what have you. Got to give it to Apple. And again, I'm an Apple guy. Bo, he likes the Android. But you got to give it to Apple, whether you like them or not. Shrewd marketers. By the way, if you've seen some of the ads for the new iPhone, I don't even have to read emails anymore. I could just, someone says, did you get my email? Sure. It summarizes everything for you. Well, if we have AI, then why do we need brains? It's like muscle. If you don't use the muscle, it goes away. Anyway, I'm sure someone will get a new iPhone. I don't think it'll be Dave Petzo. If Dave Petzo could have a flip Apple phone, he would. Anyway, in all seriousness, we appreciate you. Don't go anywhere. Clay and Buck coming up next, followed by Sean Hannity, Lars Larson, of course, great weekend program with our friend Dave Petzo and so many others. But once again, I appreciate you listening. It's a challenge. I want to let you know that we're going to continue to work for you to make Idaho better. If you're around at Dutch Brothers, go there, get a coffee, get something. $1 of all your purchases today in the Treasure Valley. Go to help our friends at Camp Rainbow Gold, camprainbowgold.org. God bless.